morning, Manitoba. Ainsley in for Rochelle this week. We've got a great week planned for you. We got a great day planned for you. And Our Grandmothers is a brand new exhibition at the Manitoba Métis Federation. Now, you won't see it until 2027. However, we have a sneak peek for you. Some fantastic beating and telling the stories through heritage and those grandmothers. First, here's a look at your headlines. Fire crews in northern Manitoba are hoping rain in the forecast will ease wildfire conditions after thick smoke stalled suppression efforts and forced cancellations over the weekend. With pressure mounting and time running short, Canada's trade strategy faces a pivotal week, starting with a key meeting between PM Carney and U.S. senators in Ottawa. And Chris Martin is warning fans, if you're at the Coldplay concert at the camera, well, it gets more than just your dance moves. Well, for some people. If you've seen that video, my goodness.
I feel like we've all seen it. I'm surprised that we're still talking about this.
No
oh my
doubt.
goodness. All right.
A cloud of smoke is what a lot of Manitobans saw this weekend.
You're right about that. I mean, I'm not surprised at all when I take a look at the warnings map to see how much of Manitoba is included in those air quality warnings. I look outside and you can see that smoke haze still lingering. It's 19 degrees with south-southeast winds 19 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity is sitting at 75%. So yes, the smoke map, or the warnings map, which I've just taken to call now, the smoke map. But really, the air quality very poor through most of the province today. It's just here in the southwestern part of Manitoba, but we are starting to see some improvements with southeast winds, and even just over the course of the morning, we've gotten back a clearer section now in areas just to the south and off to the west of us. So those southeast winds will continue, or southwest winds, pardon me, will continue to clear some of that out. Also, rain might help. My goodness, we will welcome all of this. The chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms, and there you can see that activity showing up on the satellite image. So yes, welcoming the rain to fall no matter where in the province. There isn't a spot that doesn't need it at this point. So that chance of showers, maybe thunderstorms. I mean, again, thunderstorms not ideal, but if rain comes along with it, we will welcome it. And it's not just today. We could see more of that activity again lingering into tomorrow. There might be a few breaks where it kind of tapers off, but then picks up again. Once we're starting to look later on into the week, that's when things will probably end up looking a little bit clearer, at least here in the southeast. Some parts through central Manitoba may still by Wednesday be dealing with the showers, but for us it does look like that'll all be tapering off probably Tuesday, and then looking at drier conditions and hotter conditions as we look toward the end of the week.
Thank you, Terry. 4 people have been charged with second-degree murder in connection with a February homicide in Winnipeg. Police were called to the home in 8500 block of Magnus Avenue on February 25th. There, they found the body of Matthew Robert Pelletier. Nearly 5 months later, between July 7th and 16th, Winnipeg police arrested 4 men. They range in age from 37 to 43 years old. The 4 are charged with second-degree murder. Police are still asking anyone with information about the killing to give them a call or contact Crime Stoppers. Precipitation that's in the forecast early this week could help crews fighting wildfires that have been threatening a northern Manitoba city. In an update posted to social media yesterday, the city of Thompson said that rain was forecast for the area today as the community continues to advise residents to be ready to flee at a short notice due to several fires. But the battle against the flames was hampered on Saturday. The Post said that because intense smoke meant that aerial crews were unable to do suppression work with helicopters and water bombers. Smoke also prevented sonar imaging of land burned by a fire that has kept people out of Tatasquiac Cree Nation, according to an update posted on Saturday by the community's chief. And the final day of racing at the Sail West Regional Championships on Lake Winnipeg was canceled on Sunday due to the presence of wildfire smoke. Sail Manitoba President Eric Turner says that there was enough visibility to go sailing, but the organizers determined that it would be risky to people's health. Environment Canada Air issued air quality warnings on Friday for parts of Manitoba and Saskatchewan that lasted through the weekend. The wildfires have damaged or destroyed hundreds of homes and structures. And while many people have insurance, some don't have enough and some none at all. And as CTV's Allison Bamford reports, uninsured losses are piling up.
This is what Tessa Santana calls glamping.
Look at that.
Tight quarters, but every inch of space is packed with purpose.
It feels like an extended camping trip. However, then when reality does hit you and you're like, you know what, this is our home. You know, we don't really know where we're going. It was just shooting flames.
Wildfires decimated the Santana's acreage just north of La Ronge and killed most of their animals. They've been living here 3 hours south at this campground for the last month and a half. The home where they raised their children and grandchildren was uninsured.
Last year we weren't in a good place. Like I said, it was between feeding your family or buying insurance. So, you know, what do you do?
Santana's not alone. Some Saskatchewan insurance brokers told us they've received countless calls from uninsured and underinsured clients who've lost property in the wildfires. A rule of thumb known as the insurance gap suggests that for every $1 of insured losses, there are $3 to $4 of uninsured losses borne by homeowners, businesses, and governments.
For governments, that's money coming out of budgets for hospitals, schools, infrastructure development. For businesses, that's money coming out of budgets for business expansion, equipment upgrades, employee compensation.
And for uninsured homeowners like Santana,
it's basically having to build our whole life again.
They don't know where they'll end up, likely further south, closer to family, and hopefully before the snow flies. Wherever they call home next, insurance will be a top priority. But if she had to do it all over again, she would.
If it ever came down to it again, feeding my family or buying insurance, every time I'm going to feed my family.
A decision she hopes she never has to make again. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
It's shaping up to be a pivotal week of trade and tariff talks, and we now know the Prime Minister will be meeting with a bipartisan delegation of U.S. senators this morning. They'll meet in Ottawa as time is ticking down to reach a trade deal before Trump's August 1st deadline. Last week, Prime Minister Mark Carney said that not a lot of evidence right now to suggest the U.S. is willing to cut a deal without tariffs. But on Sunday, the U.S. Commerce Secretary is pushed back on that.
We have a plan called USMCA, U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement. Virtually 75% of all goods coming from Mexico and Canada already come in tariff-free. The president said, look, unless you stop this fentanyl and close the border, we're just going to keep tariffs on the other 25%.
Meanwhile, tariffs and trade are top of the agenda as the country's premiers arrive in Ontario's cottage country for a 3-day meeting that comes at a pivotal time for both Canada and U.S. and domestic relations. The premiers' summer gathering in Muskoka will also feature a Tuesday meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney as trade talks with the United States are expected to intensify. Coldplay frontman Chris Martin was sure to give fans plenty of warning that they may appear on screen during their concert on Saturday night.
How we're going to do that is we're going to use our cameras and put some of you on the big screen.
Now, that warning comes after the concert last week where a couple were shown embracing on the Jumbotron only to duck and hide when they realized that they were on camera. The couple turned out to be the CEO of the tech company Astronomer, cuddling with the company's head of human resources. Taking a look now at the current traffic situation along Confusion Corner at 608. Looks like lots of traffic at this time. We don't know of any stalls or crashes. Let us know, though. CTV Morning, WPG. Joseph Bernacki joins us for the first time today at the MMF, talking about a new exhibition, and he's getting a sneak peek. Tell us all about it, Joseph.
Thanks, Ainsley. Good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, always a great morning spending time with the Manitoba Métis Federation, as Ainsley mentioned at the top of our show today. We're getting a chance to showcase some really cool artifacts today. This is sort of in conjunction with a media preview the MMF gave us earlier this summer. Over 140 items that are going to hopefully be on display within the next year or so. Basically, at the site of the old Bank of Montreal building inside, it's going to be, of course, the new Heritage Center for the MMF. And what you're looking at right now is a collection of items, beautiful embroidery, everything from a jacket for infants to embroidered moccasins here. Of course, there's some of the artwork behind me as well. Some of these items have come from California, from overseas. We're going to be finding out so much more about that, and we'll be back just after 6:30, so stay tuned for some more conversations coming up soon on CTV Morning Live.
That is so neat. Thank you, Joseph. Terry's joining us on the roof for the first time with an umbrella, but first, here are some dogs teaching with a touch of a button. Oh, talk about smart dogs. These are some border collies. They're correctly following the button commands, and they know everything, even how to count. What else do they have up their sleeves?
This is incredible. Border collies are honestly one of the most fascinating creatures.
My childhood dog was a border collie.
Was it?
And she was trained to her
I can't imagine growing up
property.
next to a border collie. They would I would feel forever inferior.
How's it on the roof?
Wet, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to say so. The rain, yes, it's coming down now, and we will welcome it. We need this in the most desperate way. Maybe it'll help with the smoke as well, because I'm not sure how many of you tried to get out this weekend and just decided not even to bother, or if you did make it out, you sat there thinking, oh, it's kind of gross. It was. The smoke was heavy through the weekend, and still it was lingering into this morning. We do remain under those heavy smoke warnings. Most of the province does, in fact, but the rain might help with that, and so too might some southeast winds. It's 18 degrees, so we're well above seasonal to kick off your morning with these above normal temps. 23K winds out of the south-southeast, and yes, is already starting to smell a little bit better than it did over the weekend itself. The pressure falling, and yes, the rain is coming down and will off and on through the day today throughout most of the province, in fact. So welcome every drop that falls. My flowers, they were needing it too after a dry weekend. And we're going to get some mid-20 temperatures for today, but then it actually cools down for a day or two. Tomorrow, nowhere near as warm. It will be heating up again once we're looking ahead to the weekend, and by then we're probably back to those dry conditions as well. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
Good morning. It's 6:15. Property owners in Victoria Beach expressed their frustrations over tax increases last Thursday night.
For the residents of Victoria Beach, it's just not fair to pay our taxes in the city and to come out here for the summer and get dinged in a way that's different. And
Mayor Penny McMorris tells CTV News about 100 residents came out to a public meeting on school taxes, along with Manitoba's finance minister. Seasonal residents are facing a 50% increase due to the removal of the education tax rebate and a jump in property assessments. While they make up the majority of residents, they can't vote for trustees and aren't eligible for the homeowner affordability tax credit.
You're a seasonal property owner, that 80 to 85% of our population, you don't have a vote. Yet now you're paying the full school tax portion. So that's taxation without representation, and that doesn't seem very democratic.
McMorris says that residents want Manitoba's lawmakers to find a solution to funding education, which could include adding it to income taxes instead of property taxes. The finance minister said that he'll bring their concerns to the legislature for discussion. More than 50,000 Canada Post workers will be voting this week on the latest contract offer from their employer. It comes after months of contentious negotiations at a time when many Canadians are debating just how much they use the service. With more on that, here's Paul Hollingsworth.
Canada Post and its unionized employees are buried deep in negotiations that have lasted more than 18 months.
We put forward the offers. We hope they see it as a reasonable path forward that provides certainty.
But the union sees things differently.
We're dealing with a mugger. The post office is trying to take a whole bunch of stuff from us.
With the labor impasse continuing, we asked Canadians how much they use Canada Post.
I don't send any mails or anything, so I don't really use it.
Some seniors in particular still send and receive on a regular basis.
I use it, like maybe for paying bills.
How often do you use Canada Post?
Weekly.
What do you use it for?
We mail letters and parcels out to family and friends.
Others appreciate the simplicity of this long-standing tradition.
I have to admit, I like to receive things in Canada Post as opposed to electronically.
Since 1867, Canada Post has served communities across the country. How people use the post office depends on where they live.
I fear for rural Canadians. because there are a lot of delivery companies won't deliver to rural Newfoundland or rural Alberta or rural British Columbia.
University marketing professor Ed McHugh says across the country there has been a decline in the use of the mail service among younger Canadians.
They know what Amazon Prime is, but they don't know what Canada Post is.
I feel like some demographics use it more than others. I would say it's not super relevant in my everyday life.
Through thick and thin, the Postal Service undeniably has its loyal users.
We get a lot of junk mail, basically. But still, I would hate to see it disappear.
She hopes both sides avoid a work stoppage and strengthen a national institution that dates all the way back to Confederation. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
A 14-year-old boy has been arrested in connection with the murder of a senior in the Toronto suburb of North York. 71-year-old Shanaz Pastini was stabbed while loading groceries into her vehicle on Thursday morning. She was rushed to hospital where she later died. A 14-year-old boy has been charged with second-degree murder in her death. He cannot be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. The arrest comes as videos circulating online appear to show the accused speaking publicly about the incident. Police say that they are aware of the videos but have not confirmed the identity of the person in the videos. He is set to appear in court tomorrow. On the weekend, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky called for a new round of peace talks with Russia, saying that the Kremlin had to stop avoiding making decisions. A spokesperson for the Russian President Vladimir Putin said that he was ready to move toward a peace deal, but not the compromise of Moscow's main objectives. The two countries continued to trade drone strikes on Sunday as Russia keeps up a full-scale invasion launched in 2022. It was 56 years ago yesterday, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first people to walk on the moon.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Armstrong and Aldrin stepped onto the lunar surface on July 20th of 1969. The pair spent more than 2 hours exploring the moon, collecting nearly 50 pounds worth of material to bring back to Earth. The lunar landing was the culmination of NASA's Apollo 11 mission, which ended when Armstrong and Aldrin and their crewmate, Michael Collins, returned to Earth on July 24th. An artist in Paris has unveiled a new mural honoring U.S.-French entertainer and civil rights activist Josephine Baker.
I feel moved and I feel happy because this is part of a memory of my mother.
50 years after Baker's death, her face now gazes out over a busy northeast Paris neighborhood. The mural is one of several painted as part of a street art festival. Baker was born in Missouri, but established herself as a megastar in France in the 1930s after fleeing segregation in the United States. She was the first black woman inducted into France's National Pantheon. Taking a look at the current traffic situation, this is Portage and Polo Park. No delays, stalls, or crashes that we're aware of.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
I think what we were seeing in that last view was more fog than smoke. This one is looking a little bit clearer now as we glance through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. A southeast wind is beginning to make some improvements with that air quality. Still, we are under the heavy smoke warnings, but when I was just upstairs on the rooftop about 10 minutes ago, it's certainly starting to feel a little fresher, a little cleaner, and that smell of fresh rain, can't beat that. That's what's coming down right now, the much-needed precipitation. We're starting out at 18 degrees here in Winnipeg. Pinawa joins us there. All through the south, you can see we're either at the high or more mid-teens. 13 degrees, that would be a normal low temperature, so everybody is at least a few above that. Right up to northern Manitoba, double digits are being felt, or some high teens. Take a look at Island Lake starting out at 18 degrees, a mild one for you as well. Yes, it is still smoky, and those warnings remain in place through most of the province. Here in the southwest is where the air quality is faring the best. If it's not the smoke warning, there's still that advisory issued through parts of northwestern Ontario. There's the rain, though. We're welcoming it, and we'll likely see it off and on over the next couple of days with some slightly cooler temperatures tomorrow. But today, we're still likely to be up into the mid-20s. No surprise when we're already starting in the high teens this morning. For northern Manitoba, you too will notice those temperatures probably getting close to the 20-degree mark, maybe just stalling out in the high teens. But here in the south, yes, mid-20s to even some high 20s in areas just off to the west of us. Tomorrow, slightly cooler still with that rain expected. And then it does start to look a little bit drier and eventually a little bit warmer toward the end of the weekend. It was a smoky one this past weekend, though. This picture taken out in Pinawa, that swinging bridge. Thanks to Kimberly for this. Keep them coming to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca. We'll be back right after this break.
Good morning. We're telling you about a phone that doesn't ring. It's not connected to a line. Instead, words are said to be carried on the wind. It's aimed at those who have lost a loved one wanting to express their feelings. CTV's Adam Sawatsky met a BC man who struggled to place the call.
David and his dog are walking along the water, not far from where he and his siblings once rented a boat to say goodbye to their parents at sea.
We poured out the ashes and a family of orcas started jumping, and the captain said, "Wow, you couldn't have scripted that any better."
And ever since, David's been hoping to see some other serendipitous sign.
You know, everybody says, "Oh, you know, I saw Mom here and here," and it's been dead silent for me.
And then he happened upon this, that someone set up along the path, an invitation, according to these instructions, to communicate with loved ones you've lost by phone.
What would I say, right? I'm not ready.
So David left the phone.
I walked down the path in tears.
But the phone didn't leave him.
I was moved. I was touched.
And the next day, he's returned.
I think it's a really special idea.
The sign says it's a wind phone, inspired by an unconnected phone booth in Japan to connect with the dead following a devastating earthquake.
It's the only number I ever had.
The number he started dialing as a kid and never stopped calling as a grown-up on his old home phone, now displayed at his place after having to sell his parents.
Every Sunday, gotta call Mom. Nope. Every time there's a hockey game, gotta call Dad.
But today, this is not a call David can complete.
I can't do that today. I'm not ready for that.
Because although the notebook beside the phone is filled with messages from other folks feeling grateful for the opportunity to say what they wish they had, David is wanting to hear what he no longer can.
Just reassuring. Reassuring that it's all okay.
But how can we really hear, the wind phone seems to say, unless we listen?
All these years I've been waiting for a sign, and maybe it's just me. I gotta pick up the phone and call.
And when he's ready for that, David now knows he doesn't have to happen upon a wind phone. At any time, he can pick up that old home phone and really hear everything is okay. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
It's 18 degrees outside. A little light rain is falling. We've got winds out of the south-southeast, 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 82%. Finally, seeing some much-needed precipitation and southeast winds. Air quality, I'm noticing the aroma is less than it was over the weekend. We are still included under that air quality warning issued by Environment Canada. Most of the province is, in fact, and even areas off to the east of us as well. All of that purple you can see. And you know how poor that air quality was over the weekend if you spent any time outdoors or even tried to. We do have a clearer section here in southwestern Manitoba, and with southeast winds, I am expecting that we'll see some better air quality here for today, but it may only be for today. Here's the rain, welcoming it. Oh, it's been so desperately dry. We'll likely see that throughout the province. Most places are in the path of possible showers or maybe some thunderstorms. Mid-20 temperatures, so still close to what is normal for this time of year. And yes, southeast winds may certainly help the smoke situation. At about 20 kilometers per hour, they'll remain out of the south overnight. That chance of showers or thunderstorms continues as we drop down to 17 degrees. A little bit cooler tomorrow, but still that chance of precipitation. A shift in the winds, and maybe not for the better. They'll be coming out of the north for tomorrow. From there, clearer or drier conditions, I should say, not necessarily clearer. 24 degrees, mix of sun and cloud. Hotter for the weekend. Those temperatures will be ramping up again.
Thank you, Terry. A park in western Manitoba is getting a boost from the Manitoba government. The province says more than $2 million will upgrade parts of Spruce Woods Provincial Park. It's located about an hour southeast of Brandon and is best known for the Spirit Sands and Devil's Punch Bowl. The province says that the money will be used to replace a flood-damaged pedestrian bridge, build a new floating boardwalk, and add more electric service to pedestals to campsites. America's Secretary of Commerce has firmly stood by Donald Trump's tariff threats. As CTV's Jeremy Sharon explains, it's coming as Canada pushes forward with efforts to diversify its trade markets.
With an August 1st tariff threat and a self-imposed deadline to land a new trade deal with Donald Trump, the White House's message for Canada is clear.
Canada is not open to us. They need to open their market. Unless they're willing to open their market, they're going to pay a tariff.
In an interview with CBS's Face the Nation Sunday morning, Howard Lutnick stood firm on the deadline and had this to say about renegotiating the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade deal.
Oh, I think the president is absolutely going to renegotiate USMCA, but that's a year from today.
But before that, Prime Minister Mark Carney is looking for a deal to avoid further tariffs as of next month.
It may be that the best that we can do is a relatively low 10, 15, it's hard to pick a number out of the air, rate across the board and have that restricted solely to those sectors not USMCA compliant.
To guard against the shifting tides of Trump's trade efforts, Canada is now looking to push forward new partnerships outside of North America in an effort to diversify. We live in a complex and fast-changing world. Cooperation with reliable partners is more important than ever, said Canada's Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne on the heels of G7 and G20 meetings in South Africa just days ago. While Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum earlier this week said she spoke with Prime Minister Carney about strengthening trade collaboration with Canada in the face of Trump's tariffs. We both agree that it is essential to respect the USMCA trade agreement, and we shared our experiences about the letter we received from President Trump, she said.
Canada and Mexico are among countries who received tariff letters from Donald Trump about what to expect August 1st. Now up against the clock to land a deal, Prime Minister Mark Carney will meet with a bipartisan group of U.S. senators on Parliament Hill.
An independent assessment of the RCMP's internal watchdog has uncovered concerns about a toxic work environment. The workplace assessment came after anonymous employee emails alleged that the RCMP's review commission was in disarray due to a lack of leadership. The assessment found a number of employees felt overwhelmed by their workloads, leading to stress and job-less satisfaction. The review says that there is a clear call for change at the leadership level. The verdict in the sexual assault trial for 5 members of the 2018 World Junior team will be delivered on Thursday of this week.
I think at the end of the day, although this case captivated the nation, it really comes down to simple principles like consent, credibility, and reliability. I don't think the case itself will be precedent-setting unless it launches a further discussion in society and legislative change based on how our community views the decision and if it believes that the law needs to be changed as a result of it.
Michael McLeod, Carter Hart, Alex Formanton, Dylan Dubé, and Cal Foote are charged with sexually assaulting a woman in a London, Ontario hotel room in 2018. All have pleaded not guilty. The judge in the case will announce the verdict on Thursday morning. Humans welcomed some of the city's goodest boys and girls to a brand new off-leash dog park on Saturday. Well, aren't they excited? White Ridge Community Center opened its off-leash dog area to the furry friends and their humans. This is the first project to go through the city's off-leash dog area master plan introduced back in May of 2018. The city hopes this space will be more than just a dog park.
It's more than a dog park, right? It's great for the dogs, but it's also great to build community. The neighbors come out, they meet each other, the doggies meet each other.
The new park replaces a seasonal pen previously operated by the community center. It's fully fenced, grass covered, and open year-round. Amenities include seating areas, sealed pet waste containers, and 2 gated entrances. Taking a look now at the current traffic situation at Main and Broadway. It looks like a smooth drive. If you have any traffic tips, let us know. CTV Morning WPG on our X page. Taking a look at your gas prices, the Canadian average stands at $1.36. The provincial average is lower at $1.30, and in Winnipeg, the average is $1.29. The lowest price in the city is $1.19. All this information available at gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Over 140 artifacts from all over are going to be displayed in 2027 with our grandmothers. Joseph Bernanke is getting a sneak peek before that happens. Good morning.
Thanks, Ainsley. Yes, good morning. It's amazing how much history is just in this small room here. Very pleased to be joined by Janine Crouch. She is a master beadwork artist, and you have a lot of knowledge on all these different pieces beside us. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Well, thank you for inviting me here today. This is one of my joys of looking at beadwork, so yeah.
These items that are to our left here, talk to us a little bit about how the MMF was able to slowly acquire these, kind of what we're looking at for an overview.
Okay, so the background of all these pieces were collected by Gregory Schofield, and along with Dr. Sherry Farrell-Rosette, and he's been collecting for, I would say, probably over 10 years now. He's still collecting, but he acquired all these pieces from all over, say, North America into United Kingdom, and he's collected them and brought them home.
The history within these individual items, take, this knife sheath to our left. Talk about what we're looking at. I mean, this is over 200 years old, isn't that right?
Yes, it is. This is a very, very old piece. This is quill work, porcupine quill. This was, of course, she was an absolute master. She's got 3 different techniques that are on this one piece, and that's loom, the wrapping, and then, of course, the applique type work of quill work. But this here is so it's almost like a transition between, what she was growing up with, maybe with the quill work, and then, of course, bringing in the floral designs of the Métis.
And give me a quick word on the moccasins on the right side of the table that we're looking at.
Okay, that was embroidery, and that was usually done with silk embroidery thread. That's more of a Métis style of silk work. There's a double chain stitch or just a single chain stitch that was taught to a lot of the Indigenous women and Métis women at a certain time period.
And before we wrap up this first segment, the infant's jacket to my left is stunning to look at. Tell me about it. Yeah.
That is there. That was, you can tell, that was made with an awful lot of love, and they love this little child. And it's an absolute replica of the old scout coats that the men wore, but it's miniature. Well, Janine, and it's old.
We appreciate your knowledge on these unbelievable items. We're going to get a chance to showcase so much more throughout the show today. She's going to be joining us later on the show as well, so stay tuned from the Manitoba Métis Federation. We'll be back coming up shortly.
Joseph, thank you so much. I felt like I was at the monitor trying to look at all of the intricate beadwork. This is great. Still with the umbrella, Terry.
And not mad about it. Honestly, I've been waiting for this to happen. I did leave my patio cushions outside. I've been desperate for the rain. It's just that we kept seeing, oh, there's a chance of showers, and then nothing would really materialize. I mean, yesterday, we got 7 drops of rain. This is a little more than 7, and we're so happy to see that it is. 18 degrees is still mild and above seasonal out here. Heavier clouds making it looking a little bit dark, but the rain is coming down, and happy about that. It'll help probably with the smoke, but so too will these southeast winds. They're right now 23 kilometers per hour, and it's already starting to smell a little bit better out here with the smell of fresh rain taking the place of the smoke over the weekend. The pressure falling, the humidity sitting at 82%, and yes, the rain is likely to be kind of off and on over the next couple of days, and that goes right across the province. Southern Manitoba right up into northern Manitoba. Every spot in Manitoba could use that shower activity. There is the possibility of thunderstorms as well, and I know we are not welcoming the lightning strikes, but we get what we get. And raindrops, please, Mother Nature, more of that. So the next couple of days might look a little bit soggy at times, drier toward the middle and hotter toward the end of the week as those temperatures really ramp up. We're taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather is brought to you by Destination Dinner Stage, Manitoba's only musical dinner theater.
Checking in And on the early markets, it's a positive start to the trading day. Dow futures are up 85 points, NASDAQ futures are jumping ahead 62 points, and S&P futures are showing modest gains up 14 points. The Canadian dollar is dipping slightly this morning. Overseas, the Hang Seng is climbing up 168 points, while Japan's Nikkei is in the red, down 82 points. Good morning, it's 6:45. A traffic stop has led RCMP to a large stash of drugs and weapons. Mounties in the Paw pulled over a vehicle on Wednesday of last week. They noticed open liquor, searched for the vehicle, and found cocaine, bear spray, and an extendable baton. So they got a search warrant for a home north of the town. There, officers seized firearms, a crossbow, and airsoft guns. They also found illicit pills and other drug-related paraphernalia, as well as body armor. RCMP have a man and 2 women in custody. They're from the Paw and Opaskwanak Cree Nation as the Paw RCMP continue to investigate. The Transportation Safety Board is continuing to investigate a deadly float plane crash last week in Ontario. It's leading to calls for tougher flight regulations. But as CTV's Kamal Karmali reports, it also comes at a time when the number of plane crashes across the country is declining.
Damaged dock is all that remains of a seaplane crash that killed a teenager Friday at this Ontario lake. Children splashing nearby, a sight highlighting had the timing been different, there could have been any number of victims.
Definitely can happen to anybody.
The 16-year-old boy was standing on a dock Friday afternoon on Lake Scugog, just an hour outside Toronto. When a float plane struck the dock, he died on scene. It's left residents and visitors shaken.
There should be more safety measurements should be taken.
This deadly and devastating crash now prompting questions on plane safety and security. But data shows plane crashes in Canada, on average, are actually trending downwards. Over the past 5 years, there have been under 200 plane accidents in Canada each year. But compare the average of those 5 years at just over 180 accidents to the decade before that. The average number of incidents between 2010 and 2019 much higher, with over 250 accidents per year.
We have an increased quality of pilots. Pilots are much more rigorously trained and inspected.
Another incident heightened concern when a BC man was accused of stealing a small plane from the Victoria Flying Club and landing it at the Vancouver airport. CTV News reached out to over a dozen small to medium-sized airports across the country. They either didn't respond or said security measures will remain the same after BC's hijacking incident, with Victoria's airport adding, should Transport Canada make any recommendations as a result of this investigation, we will work with them to support implementation as appropriate.
You would be pretty hard pressed to impose a uniform level of security in the general aviation world because there are so many airports.
Life at Lake Scugog attempting to return to normal, but with few answers into what caused the crash and the investigation continuing, many are not yet ready to rest easy. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, near Lake Scugog.
A group of divers from the U.S. and Australia have found a car tied to a Laval, Quebec man's disappearance from 37 years ago. The divers from Exploring with Mission believe that the car belonged to Robert St. Louis, who went missing in the late 80s. They found it in a Quebec river. The vehicle matched the description of the family's Jeep Cherokee chief. They also found bones in the car. St. Louis's daughter reached out to the divers to help solve their father's disappearance. She was the last one to see him before he went missing on Father's Day in 1988. The group will now meet with investigators to confirm their findings. We can all use a few laughs in stressful times, and Assiniboine Park delivered it over the weekend. The Great Outdoors Comedy Festival brought the fun to Winnipeg over the weekend. The event kicked off on Friday evening and ran throughout Sunday, featuring local entertainment, food trucks, cold drinks, and a few surprises, all in the name of laughter. Big-name comedians like the Trailer Park Boys, Whitney Cummings, John Mulaney, and Theo Vaughn kept the crowd laughing throughout the weekend. The festival first launched in Edmonton in 2021. Next stops include Halifax, Calgary, and Spokane, Washington in August, before wrapping up in Vancouver this September. Sometimes all it takes to find a little peace is a picnic in the park, and with a paintbrush in hand. Local artist Christina Troiska hosted a province-style picnic party, Kern Park, on Sunday. That's where it was. For about 3 hours, Troyska and attendees painted on canvases surrounded by music, cold drinks, and sweet little treats. Troyska moved to Canada from Ukraine 3 years ago. For Sunday's event, everyone painted the same image, but the end result on each canvas was unique.
Like maybe more blue or maybe more pink to add maybe more darkness or brightness. But today the same painting, but in different mood. We will see in the end it will be absolutely different.
At the end of the event, everyone took their artwork home, a colorful reminder of a peaceful afternoon in the park. Taking a look at the traffic situation along McPhillips Street. No stalls or crashes we're aware of. Looks like a smooth drive.
Yes, and again, I think that's more fog that we were seeing out there than smoke. It's certainly starting to smell a little bit fresher, more like rain instead of smoke. 18 degrees, those south-southeast winds, 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling, humidity sitting at 82%. Now, that being said, the air quality map is still looking pretty ominous, with most of the province included in that air quality warning, or the statement, the yellow, just further off to the east in parts of northwestern Ontario. But like I said, we'll probably start to notice a bit of improvement with these winds continuing out of the southeast through most of the day, and even overnight some south winds expected. And the rain, well, oh my goodness, I can't even talk about what a welcome sight this is. Oh wait, that's my job. I'm going to tell you what a welcome sight this is then. The rain, we need that across the entire province. There is the possibility that a few places could see some thunderstorms. Lightning strikes, not ideal, but the precipitation, most definitely. We're needing it no matter where you go, and it'll help both with how dry it's been, but perhaps some of the smoke as well. Mid-20s, some places might just be topping out into the high teens today, just a little bit cooler. For the most part, we're getting close to what is normal for this time of year, right up into most of northern Manitoba. Whereas southern Manitoba, where 26 degrees is a seasonal daytime high, you can see the temperatures are right in that kind of average seasonal spot, maybe just missing by a degree or so. But again, welcoming all of the precipitation. The south winds are also going to help with cleaning that air out. Northwestern Ontario, you too are in the path of a little of that precipitation. And it's not just for today, tomorrow as well. The rain will probably continue. And then it's dry for the rest of the week. It gets hot again for the weekend, so enjoy these slightly cooler temperatures while they stick around.
Thank you, Terry. Heading to the folks with 103.1 Virgin Radio. Good morning, Ace and Chrissy.
Good morning to you. Nice to see you, Ainsley. We've got with us. Oh, what? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I heard Chrissy had a good weekend.
Oh, crushed it. Volunteer Travel Manitoba employee Chrissy Troy, absolutely out there crushing this summer in our province.
So it's very easy to find amazing things to do in Manitoba. The women that I golf with, we planned a Manitoba road trip, golf edition, to the Lac du Bonny area. So thank you so much to Creekside Cabin Rentals, which is this fantastic place to go and spend the time. They not only have a gorgeous cabin, but they've got a chipping green and a putting green. And yes, my friend Lori got a hole-in-one at Granite Hills on hole number 4. I actually witnessed a hole-in-one. It was so beautiful. The maintenance crew were so amazing. All of the other golfers were incredible as well. Lac du Bonny has one of the best farmers markets actually in the province, I'm going to say. It was amazing. Oh, wow. Went to the meat draw. Everybody support your Royal Canadian Legion.
That's right.
I won twice.
No, you didn't. This woman's crushing it.
And my friend Stacy won some ribs as well. You couldn't have been more accommodating. Pinawa Float and Paddle, you are fantastic. And also River's Edge in Beausejour. Great golf course.
Now, for those of you who are doing literally anything this summer, take a pic of it because we've been crushing this. Share your summer. You can win amazing prizes. Chicken Chef, Wine Sense, Windeck, Discount Furniture Winnipeg, and shout out to Rick and everyone over at Wilderness Supply. Any pics you have of the summer, go to 1031virginradio.ca. You can win amazing prizes. I can't believe you saw
and congratulations.
A hole-in-one.
Congratulations to Lori. Okay. A sweet shop in New Brunswick is putting a unique twist on an ice cream float. CTV's Sarah Plowman has the scoop on the success of the young entrepreneur.
Her commute to work looks different than most. So does her office. Out on New Brunswick's Kingston Creek, Victoria Tramble specializes in sales. Ice cream sales.
It's a floating ice cream dock, so it's very unique. It has a boat drive-through right here for boats to just pull up.
That's right, a drive-through on the water. Treats like drumsticks, popsicles, and ice cream sandwiches are the draw.
Would like to go for scooped ice cream next year once we're solar powered.
When the sun comes out, so do boaters. On a cloudy weekday like this one, ice cream is a tougher sell. But after lunch, a special customer. Mike Alton started this floating business last year.
This was, just a dream of mine. Always wanted an ice cream shop, really like ice cream. Thought about putting it on the water and it all made sense.
Too busy with his other companies, he didn't want this dream to sink and chose to sell. Tramble scooped it up.
I'm just grateful that I got to be a part of it. I'll tell you, it sure looks sharp now.
Not everybody has a boat to get to the dock, but the owner solved that problem, putting these boats on the beach for people to use for free.
After all, ice cream might taste better on the water.
And everybody that comes by is just like in love with it, really, in love with the idea.
Yeah, and you're still in love with it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'll always be in love with it. I don't think I'll ever not love it here.
The 22-year-old became an entrepreneur just as she unexpectedly found herself without a job.
I think that's like a scary reality for a lot of people my age right now. So I kind of found myself like scrambling to find a job and everything, and it kind of just was like perfect. It fell into my lap.
That's pretty sweet. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Kingston, New Brunswick.
If you like Métis history, we have the live for you coming up. Stay with us. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Monday. Ainsley in for Rochelle this week. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a safe weekend, whether you were at the lake or stayed in the city. Speaking of lake time, it is National Drowning Prevention Week, and we're having a conversation with Life Saving Society Manitoba coming up at 7:52. They do so much work in our community to advocate, and they're going to provide us with some updated numbers as well. First, here's a look at your headlines. Insurance gap complicates wildfire recovery in the West. Some homeowners facing major out-of-pocket losses. Plus, Canada Post workers vote on new contract offer. Will more part-time jobs sink the deal? And Winnipeg works out burpees, beats, and community vibes over downtown. Well, with the smoke outside, maybe not a run, but I'm not exactly sure how it felt when you were out there this morning, Terry.
This morning, huge improvements over the weekend where the limited time that I spent outdoors didn't feel great at all. Whereas this morning, I'm quite excited to head back up there in 10 minutes time. It's feeling so much fresher and cleaner with these winds out of the south. 18 degrees right now, south-southeast winds 23 clicks. The pressure is falling, the humidity sitting at 82%, and mostly just so happy to finally see a bit of precipitation. Now, even though I've been saying that it smells so much better and it seems to be clearer out there with the air quality, smelling fresh rain as opposed to the smoke, we do remain do we? Yeah, I think so. I'll have to double check that if Winnipeg, maybe we've just been lifted. You can see we're right on that edge of the smoke warnings. Most of the province through northern Manitoba is under that, and parts of northwestern Ontario as well. Here you can see the rain that's chugging on through much of the southeast, southwestern Manitoba. You had it. It's looking a little bit clearer right now, and that's kind of how it will play out. Rain will pass through, you'll see some clearing behind it, but then another round will come. Right up into northern Manitoba, nearly everybody will likely see a bit of that precipitation. You can see another round that'll pass on through later on today, and then another round passing through again tomorrow. So we've actually got a couple of days to kick off the week with the heavier clouds and that off and on precipitation. And in fact, some places might even see that continuing on into Wednesday. Here in the south, it does look like we're probably going to be back to clearer, drier conditions by Wednesday, and hotter conditions conditions. It's only a matter of time. The weekend looks like a bit of a scorcher. And our watercolors today of these beautiful sunflowers is thanks to 11-year-old Jacob. Thank you for sending this in, Jacob, and we would love to see your art. So draw, color, or paint for us. Take a picture of it and email us, winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Terry. Crews in Winnipeg were busy early Sunday morning with 2 fires. The first fire was reportedly early Sunday at about 1:10 a.m. in a 2-story home in the 400 block of Powers Street. Crews found heavy smoke coming from the building. They launched an offensive attack and brought the blaze under control at about 1:46 a.m. Firefighters used a ladder to rescue an individual from the 2nd floor. The person was assessed by and on-scene paramedics, but did not require transport to hospital. 1 cat was located deceased. The fire is being investigated. The second call-out came just after 4 a.m. for a vehicle fire in the 500 block of Pacific Avenue. Crews discovered the flames had spread to a carport and to the exterior an adjacent house. The fire was quickly brought under control and did not spread to the interior of the house. No injuries were reported, and the investigation continues. Precipitation that's in the forecast early this week could help crews fighting wildfires that have been threatening a northern Manitoba city. In an update posted to social media yesterday, the city of Thompson said that rain was forecast for the area today as the community continues to advise residents to be ready to flee at short notice due to several fires. But the battle against the flames was hampered on Saturday, the Post said, because intense smoke meant that aerial crews were unable to do suppression work with helicopters and water bombers. Smoke also prevented sonar imaging of land burned by a fire that has kept people out of Tatasqueyak Cree Nation, according to an update posted Saturday by the community's chief. And the final day of racing at the Sail West Regional Championships on Lake Winnipeg was canceled on Sunday due to the presence of wildfire smoke. Sail Manitoba President Eric Turner says that there was enough visibility to go sailing, but the organizers determined that it would be risky to people's health. Environment Canada Air issued air quality warnings on Friday for parts of Manitoba and Saskatchewan that lasted throughout the weekend. The wildfires have damaged or destroyed hundreds of homes and structures. And while many people have insurance, some don't have enough and some none at all. As CTV's Allison Bamford reports, uninsured losses are piling up.
This is what Tessa Santana calls glamping.
Look at that.
Tight quarters, but every inch of space is packed with purpose.
It feels like an extended camping trip. However, then when reality does hit you and you're like, you know what, this is our home. You know, we don't really know where we're going. It was just shooting flames.
Wildfires decimated the Santana's acreage just north of La Ronge and killed most of their animals. They've been living here 3 hours south at this campground for the last month and a half. The home where they raised their children and grandchildren was uninsured.
Last year we weren't in a good place. Like I said, it was between feeding your family or buying insurance. So, you know, what do you do?
Santana's not alone. Some Saskatchewan insurance brokers told us they've received countless calls from uninsured and underinsured clients who've lost property in the wildfires. A rule of thumb known as the insurance gap suggests that for every $1 of insured losses, there are $3 to $4 of uninsured losses borne by homeowners, businesses, and governments.
For governments, that's money coming out of budgets for hospitals, schools, infrastructure development. For businesses, that's money coming out of budgets for business expansion, equipment upgrades, employee compensation.
And for uninsured homeowners like Santana,
it's basically having to build our whole life again.
They don't know where they'll end up, likely further south, closer to family, and hopefully before the snow flies. Wherever they call home next, insurance will be a top priority. But if she had to do it all over again, she would.
If it ever came down to it again, feeding my family or buying insurance, every time I'm going to feed my family.
A decision she hopes she never has to make again. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A 9-year-old Canadian girl reported missing by her father has been found dead in New York. The Warren County Sheriff's Office received a call from 45-year-old Luciano Fratellin about his missing daughter on Saturday night. He told police she was taken possibly, and the sheriff's office says it identified inconsistencies in the father's retelling of the events and timeline. Melina Fratulin was later found dead in Tygon, New York on Sunday. The New York State Police are now investigating, and they say that there are no signs pointing to an abduction at this time. More than 50,000 unionized workers at Canada Post will begin voting on the company's latest contract offer today.
We put forward the offers. We hope they see it as a reasonable path forward that provides certainty.
Canada Post seems hopeful for an agreement which would increase wages more than 13%, but also add more part-time workers. Meanwhile, the Canadian Union of Postal Workers is urging its members to reject the offer, saying that the government-imposed vote sets a dangerous precedent. Negotiations between Canada Post and the Canadian Union of Postal Workers have been ongoing for more than 18 months. An investigation into the Jeju plane crash in South Korea in December is highlighting pilot error. According to a source at briefing over the weekend, there's evidence pilots had turned off the less damaged left engine after a bird strike. Pilots allegedly shut off the left engine instead of the right just before it was scheduled to land. Families of the crash victims were briefed on the report but have objected to its publication. This is because it doesn't explore other contributing factors. 179 people were killed. It was the deadliest air disaster on South Korean soil. Downtown Winnipeg can be a little quiet on weekends, but over the weekend, fitness lovers brought the energy. The local community group Peg City Steppers hosted its third annual health and wellness event at True North Square. The free and family-friendly gathering featured fitness classes, wellness workshops, kids zone, and community activities, all aimed at supporting physical and mental well-being. Organizers say that the event was designed to be inclusive, no matter your age or fitness level.
A lot of times, persons will want to go at someone else's pace, but we encourage slow progression until you're at a pace where you can, have that full capacity to work out.
Peg City Steppers began as a small walking group and has since grown into a broader community wellness initiative. The organization is set to celebrate its 5th anniversary later this year with a gala. Taking a look at the current traffic situation with a little bit of fog to accompany us along Kenniston Boulevard. CTV Morning WPG is where you can let us know of any delays. Joining us now once again is Joseph Bernacki, looking at some pretty cool artifacts, and before the public gets to see it too. Well, I guess we're showing the public a sneak peek.
Good morning, Ainsley. Yeah, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, it's been a very educational morning with the Manitoba Métis Federation. So much history in this one little room that cameraman Scott is showing this morning. All these artifacts, they're called grandmothers by the MMF. It's showcasing more than 200 years of history, even before Manitoba became a province that we know and see today. Coming up throughout the show today, we're going to be showcasing more of what's in this room behind me. We've been talking about what's in front of me here, everything from the beautiful embroidery on the tobacco pouch to the knife sheath over here, this little infant's jacket. The detailing and the work that went in, the craftsmanship is unbelievable. We're going to be back in 20 minutes or so talking more about what's in the room here and where it'll be on display in the near future. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you, Joseph. Terry, earlier you said you were excited to be on the roof. How does it feel?
Beautiful. Honestly, like stepping out here and it feels so fresh. But honestly, I mean, maybe I was overreacting. I was pretty housebound over the weekend. I left the house a couple of times. My walks were considerably shorter, and by that I mean like I walked to the grocery store as opposed to a walk for leisure or for exercise or mental health or all the other reasons that I like to get out for a walk. It was like, oh, I'm out of spinach. I better go to the grocery store. So yes, to be standing out here, and I even came up early just to breathe that in and enjoy some of the freshness out here. The air quality seems better. Southeast winds have helped with that, but the rain too is coming down and it's feeling so fresh and clean. 17 degrees, we're still slightly above seasonal when 13 is a normal low temperature. These temperatures, they are still going to be ramping up and ending up in the mid-20s, exactly what would be normal this time of year, or at least close to that. We might top out at about 25 here in Winnipeg, 26 being that seasonal value. But it's not just here in the south across the entire province. Showers or thunderstorms expected. Thunderstorms less than ideal with a possibility of lightning strikes, but we will welcome all of the rain, and it looks like we're going to get it for a couple of days. And in fact, parts of central Manitoba might even get a 3-day stretch of rain.
Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful at 900 Lorimer Boulevard, featuring Hunter Douglas shades.
A 3-day stretch of rain? Terry, what are you doing to me? Well, with those gray skies, it did inspire our question of the day. We wanted to ask you guys, what, brightens your day? What makes your gray blue? Weigh in with that text. Our question of the day, with it moving to Twitter, I wanted to give you the number as well. It's 10400, so send us a text. We'll read it in the 8 o'clock hour. CTV Morning Live is all about celebrating your amazing pets, and whether they're furry, feathered, or scaly, your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing. And we want to see even more of them. Whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca. Catch us every Thursday between 6 and 9 to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week. Here's a live look at Notre Dame Avenue. We've got more news, weather, and traffic coming up. Good morning. It's just after 7:15. 4 people have been charged with second-degree murder in connection with a February homicide in Winnipeg. Police were called to a home in the 500 block of Magnus Avenue on February 25th. There they found the body of Matthew Robert Pelletier nearly 5 months later, between July 7th and 16th. Winnipeg police arrested 4 men. They range in age from 37 to 43 years old. The 4 are charged with second-degree murder. Police are still asking anyone with information about the killing to give them a call or contact Crime Stoppers. Property owners in Victoria Beach expressed their frustrations over tax increases last Thursday night.
For the residents of Victoria Beach, it's just not fair to pay our taxes in the city and to come out here for the summer and get dinged in a way that's different.
Mayor Penny McMorris tells CTV News about 100 residents came out to a public meeting on school taxes, along with Manitoba's finance minister. Seasonal residents are facing a 50% increase due to the removal of the education tax rebate and a jump in property assessments. While they make up the majority of residents, they can't vote for trustees and aren't eligible for the homeowner affordability tax credit.
You're a seasonal property owner, that 80 to 85% of our population, you don't have a vote. Yet now you're paying the full school tax portion. So that's taxation without representation, and that doesn't seem very democratic.
McMorris says that residents want Manitoba lawmakers to find a solution to funding education, which could include adding it to income taxes instead of property taxes. The finance minister said that he'll bring their concerns to the legislature for discussion. U.S. President Donald Trump has requested the release of the grand jury testimonies in the indictment of Jeffrey Epstein back in 2019. The request, pending court approval, comes as pressure grows for Trump administration to release all government files on the Epstein case, and as Trump sues reporters and owner of the Wall Street Journal for libel and slander over a report tying him to the disgraced financer. One of the world's top violin makers is passing on his skills. Chin Sang is Malaysia's first professional violin maker, who has racked up accolades around the world. It's impressive considering he studied computer sciences in school and he doesn't play the violin. It's not a common journey, but it has inspired others to follow in his footsteps. Chin Sang mentors the next generation of instrument makers. He's trained every pro violin maker working in Malaysia. Taking a look at the current traffic situation on Osborne Street. Smooth volumes to kick off your Monday. Let us know if you spot otherwise. With your entertainment news now, these 2 friends are still platonic.
I don't want to lose him again. If I were to replace him now, it would take 25 years for me and this new friend to catch up to where Will and I are. And by then, I'm practically dead, and who cares? I feel intimidated.
The second season of the Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne comedy series is almost here. Their decades-long friendship is threatened when Rogen's character gets into a new relationship. Platonic Season 2 drops August 6th. The pair have previously worked together on the 2014 comedy Neighbors. The limit does not exist for Chris Hemsworth.
The moment I walk out and see how big that arena is, I'm starting to think
I'm gonna get out of here.
Hemsworth just shared the trailer for his series called Limitless, Live Better Now. National Geographic and the Thor actor teamed up again for a new edition. He's trying to uncover 3 secrets to living a better life. It includes everything from drumming for Ed Sheeran to embracing pain and facing fears. That premieres on August 15th. Beat those Monday blues with American Ninja Warrior, followed up by Rookie, and E-Talk wraps up the night at 10:30, all right here on CTV. The Winnipeg Sea Bears season continues, and we want you to be part of the action. The Sea Bears will be taking on the Saskatchewan Rattlers on August 1st and the Niagara Lions on August 6th. So if you want to be in the stands, we've got the contest for you. CTV Morning Live is giving away a family pack of 4 tickets to give away to the game. Head over to our website, that's ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Hit our contest page for all of the entry details. Do not miss your shot. Terry, outside, maybe not a good day for outdoor basketball, but we can do it inside.
You know, or just get outside for a little bit of a break. I mean, rain, it's so light, and I promise you, Ainsley, you will not melt. Sweet as you are, you ain't made of sugar, honey. Okay, outside this morning, we're looking through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years, welcoming all of that rain, and honestly, it's feeling and smelling a little bit fresher and cleaner out there. South winds starting to improve that air quality somewhat, or maybe it's the rain that's dampening those smoke particles, but either way, it doesn't seem anywhere near as smoky as it did over the weekend. And if you spend any time outdoors, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Temperature-wise, an above seasonal start to the day. 13 degrees would be normal. Most of us are in those mid to even high teens to kick things off. More mid-teens as we're looking off through southwestern Manitoba, but certainly seeing some higher teens over in the southeast. And then northern Manitoba, double digits for you. You too will have the temperatures up into those probably low 20s today, if not high teens. But yes, the smoke, it continues to be a factor through most of northern Manitoba and all along this eastern border with the air quality advisory, the yellow, just a slightly downgraded version of this. But like I said, it's starting to seem a little bit better, and with winds out of the south throughout the day, we should start to notice some improvements at least. There's a look at the precipitation, welcoming every drop of that. Many places across the province will see some off and on showers, but the possibility of thunderstorms is also there today. Here you can see by noontime, high teens, low mid-20s, even by midday for northern Manitoba, pushing up into the high 20s for the southwest. That'll be some of the warmest temperatures that we're expecting throughout the province today. A cooler day tomorrow, slightly below seasonal, but the real heat is waiting for us as we're looking ahead to the weekend. That smoke you can see prevalent out in Pinawa with the swinging bridge there in the foreground. Thanks to Kimberly for the photo. Keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Winnipeg's favorite cultural celebration is back, and we want you to go. Folklorama returns from August 3rd to 16th. We're giving you the chance to win a pair of two tour visas, giving you access to explore all 44 pavilions. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Enter the clue word world. Good luck. And a 67-year-old man found himself frantically trying to escape from his Tesla when it fell off of a ferry and into the water. CTV's Stephanie Giroux has more on how he made it back onto land.
The Tesla fell in the water while getting off the ferry. Someone suggested lowering the ramp to push the car on dry land. It didn't go well.
No! Hey! Stop! Mike, give me your hand. Hey!
Seconds later, the car drifts away with the current. The driver escapes, but the current is too strong.
Mike! Mike, come here.
Someone throws a lifebuoy, but it doesn't reach the man, so a ferry employee decides to dive in to save him. In what felt like an eternity, the motorist was pulled to safety by the ferry crew, while the rescuer safely swam back to the shore. The car was eventually retrieved, though it's now a total loss. People we've spoken to say they've never seen or heard of an incident before involving this ferry. It was back in operation this weekend, and the Transport Safety Board is now investigating what went wrong. The ferry's operator was not available for comments, but local users of the ferry say they don't fear for their safety.
I'm absolutely concerned about safety. That being said, I've been crossing here for a couple of years now, never seen any accident, and I believe people are operating properly the traverse here.
Anything you do has a risk, okay, and hopefully this won't happen again in the near future.
Neither the driver nor rescuer were injured in the incident, but the investigation is expected to reveal if this could have been prevented. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News in Laval.
The MMF's National Heritage Center is set to showcase our grandmothers, which has got spectacular pieces of Métis heritage. Joseph Bernacki joins us now, and he's going to show us some of those pieces.
Thanks, Ainsley. Yeah, it's been a great morning so far. Janine Crouchy joins us again. She does a lot of beadwork herself. She's a bit of a master in the artwork. We appreciate your time again on our show this morning.
Well, thank you for that little comment there.
Of course, yeah. Well, we've got some lovely clothing for children and women in this segment, as well as a really neat artifact we'll get to at the end. But talk to us about these cute little moccasins that kids would have been able to wear.
Those are so cute. And usually it was a little girl that would be wearing these. And of course, you know, she may be going dancing. Maybe she was part of a wedding party. But yeah, and these are all silk embroidered and done in, again, with double chain stitch or a single chain stitch. But yes, very, very elaborate. Yes.
Any idea on the age we'd be able to share?
I would say probably late 1800s.
Wow.
And this here is done, it's done on caribou, bleached caribou hide. And yes, I could just see her just dancing with this. You know, she probably just loved them.
And if we pan over to the right, we've got a little bit of larger size for women. Talk to us about these that we're looking at as well.
Again, maybe for a wedding, maybe for a dance, going to a dance. You know, she'd put her finest on, so that was her, of course, her moccasins. And you could just see her, you know, doing the Red River Jig. And at times, moccasins, whether it was a man or a woman, they could possibly wear out the soles of their moccasins in one evening dancing.
The tea cozy at the end is absolutely remarkable. One of my favorite pieces, I think, in this whole room. Talk to us about it,
Yes,
Janine.
that tea cozy, it's like, that is like the finest. And of course, maybe she'd have it in her house, you know, having her friends over for tea and having the tea cozy right there on the table.
Before we were live this morning, I made the comment, it was remarkable. We're looking at something that's over 140 years old. It doesn't look like it, though.
No, it's amazing. Beadwork, people think maybe beadwork is very delicate and fine, this and that, but it can take a lot of wear and tear too.
Wow.
Yeah, and the bead colors and all of that is still just very vibrant and you know, beautiful. The Manitoba Museum has the twin to this one.
Absolutely beautiful. We'll have more to showcase coming up at 7:42, and all these pieces are hopefully going to be on display in the near future, maybe hopefully 2027, so stay tuned for more details.
Thank you, Joseph. Absolutely stunning. Terry, outside, how is it feeling? You've had the umbrella all morning.
Yes, and I am so glad for it. I knew that the possibility of rain was there today, but we've also, you know, talked about the possibility in rain in the past, and we get barely any. And I'm not saying that this is a significant rainfall. I mean, it really hasn't even registered on my rain gauge up there, the droplets. It's just a fine light rain at this time, but a light rain, small steady steps. If it continues on a little bit longer, we might get a little bit more of a soaking. Certainly we are all needing one across the entire province. It's 17 degrees right now in Winnipeg with south-southeast winds 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 92%. Air quality does seem to have improved with the shift in the winds. It's certainly not smelling anywhere near as smoky as it did over the weekend. It does still look like we're included in the warnings. Most of the province is, in fact. Southwestern Manitoba has seen a bit of improvement, and winds today out of the southeast, and then tonight south winds continuing might help with some of that air quality, but we could be having winds shifting right back out of the north again tomorrow, so we'll see how long that lasts. Anyway, we'll see how long the rain will last. I mentioned it seemed to almost be tapering off a little bit. We're running into kind of the lighter green, but there will still be possibility or moment through the day where more showers or maybe thunderstorms are expected. 25 degrees is where we're headed today, down to 17 overnight. 22 for tomorrow keeps us a little bit below seasonal, but a cool, cloudy day. I don't think a lot of people will be mad about that, especially knowing that it's going to be heating up as early as this coming weekend.
Thank you, Terry. Summer break has hit Winnipeg City Hall. Council held its final meeting Thursday before a 6-week summer prorogation. Councillors voted in favor of giving city staff more time to come up with a plan, separated bike lanes on Wellington Crescent. They would be installed along a stretch where cyclist Rob Jenner was killed last year by a speeding motorist. The cycling community has been pushing for a quicker timeline, but council ultimately decided to hold the pilot project for 2026. Trade among the provinces is expected to be one of the main topics of a 3-day Premier's Summit kicking off today.
Brunswickers want, I think, what we all want. They want Canadian goods to move seamlessly from province to province without running into bureaucratic or administrative hurdles.
As they gather in Ontario's cottage country, premiers will also try to move forward on files like fighting U.S. tariffs and building infrastructure. First Nations and Métis leaders, along with Native Women's Association of Canada, will have their say today about federal and provincial laws aimed at fast-tracking projects. Prime Minister Mark Carney will join the talks tomorrow before the summit wraps up on Wednesday. Calgary police have identified the victim in a fatal shooting inside of a parking garage, calling the incident a cowardly attack.
It's tragic, it's horrible, and it's actually maddening that somebody can't, walk to their vehicle safely in the city. So, like I said, this is a very cowardly act.
Police say that the victim, 23-year-old Madison Cobb, was gunned down at around 4:30 p.m. on Saturday. Investigators believe it would be a targeted shooting, and they're looking for a white Toyota RAV4 suspected to be involved in the shooting. A state of emergency has been declared as people flee from an out-of-control wildfire threatening Musgrave Harbour in Newfoundland and Labrador.
The residents of Musgrave Harbour have stepped up. They've looked after themselves and they have listened. And my understanding is that almost 80% of them had already made a decision to go before the evacuation order.
The fire was first detected on Saturday night, 8 kilometers away from Musgrave Harbour. By yesterday afternoon, it was just 1 kilometer away from homes in the town. 4 water bombers and a helicopter were sent to try to hold the fire back. Officials are also keeping an eye on the massive Change Harbor fire, which is also burning close by. Police in Los Angeles have now arrested the man accused of driving into a crowd outside of a nightclub early on Saturday, injuring at least 30 people. The alleged driver, who was shot by a bystander at the scene, has been charged with assault with a deadly weapon. But authorities are considering charging him with attempted murder once their investigation is done. On the weekend, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky called for a new round of peace talks with Russia, saying that the Kremlin had to stop avoiding making decisions. A spokesperson for Russian President Vladimir Putin said that he was ready to move toward a peace deal, but not the compromise of Moscow's main objectives. The two countries continued to trade drone strikes on Sunday as Russia keeps up its full-scale invasion launched in 2022. U.S. President Donald Trump is threatening to hold up a stadium deal if the Washington Commanders don't switch back to the original name. Trump said the NFL team would be, quote, much more valuable if it restored its old name. In the same post, he also said that the Cleveland Guardians should also revert back to its original name. Commanders dropped their old name and logo back in 2020. The Winnipeg Jets have locked up a key piece of their present and future. The club has re-signed forward Gabe Vilardi to a 6-year contract worth $7.5 million a season. Vilardi set career highs during the 2024-25 campaign, racking up 27 goals and 34 assists on the Jets' top line. The 25-year-old Kingston, Ontario native added 4 points in 9 playoff games. Vilardi was originally drafted by the LA Kings in 2017 and came to Winnipeg in the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. Taking a look now at the current traffic situation along the St. James Bridge. We are not aware of any stalls or crashes, but when it's safe and legal to do so, let us know. Here's a look at your gas prices. Taking a look at them now, the Canadian average stands at $1.36. The provincial average is lower at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.29. The lowest price in the city is $1.19. All this info, gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car. CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Look at those raindrops just sitting on our camera. Happy to see those. What a welcome sight. It's 17 degrees, the light rain coming down, south-southeast winds just 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure is falling and the humidity sitting at 92%. Yes, the winds are light, but the direction, it's in our favor as far as the air quality goes anyway. You can see the smoke warnings through most of Manitoba, parts of Saskatchewan, parts of northwestern Ontario, or the slightly downgraded air quality advisory. But yes, we found ourselves just in that heavy smoke zone over the weekend, and some slight improvements expected today as these winds continue out of the southeast and then out of the south overnight. And the rain, oh my goodness, that's even more welcome than the shift in the winds. Actually, I don't know. They're both equally welcome. So precipitation across the entire province. Many of us will be seeing either some showers or maybe some thunderstorms. Temperatures still likely to get up either into the high teens or low 20s across much of northern Manitoba, with that chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms. I know the thunderstorm's not ideal. What we don't need is lightning striking these areas that are so incredibly dry. But we get what we get. And rain, bring it on, Mother Nature. More of that, please. And in fact, more of it will likely fall throughout the day today, overnight, tomorrow too. Off and on, it might not be as steady throughout the day, but off and on we'll deal with some precipitation. And maybe for some places that'll continue into Wednesday as well. Central Manitoba looks like you might see 3 days of precipitation, whereas here in the south it's more of a 2-day event, but still, we'll take it. Today and tomorrow with that rain, at least off and on at times, and then it does start to taper off, clearing out with the real heat coming back as we're looking ahead to the coming weekend.
Thank you very much, Terry. Hundreds of years of Métis heritage at our fingertips. Joseph Bernacki is spending the morning with the MMF and the Our Grandmothers collection.
Thanks, Ainsley. Yeah, it's been a great morning so far. Good morning, Winnipeg. If you're just joining us, I got Bayard DeVries with me. He's the program coordinator for the Red River Métis National Heritage Center. Yeah. Pleasure to have you on our show this morning.
Yeah, thank you guys for dropping by.
Absolutely. We've got some really cool clothing for men here in this segment. We're going to kind of start at the front of this half of the table. Talk about those beautiful gloves that we're looking at.
So this is Métis menswear that you might see. All of it dates back to at least the early 1900s. The 1910 at least. These actually are from 1900 to 1910. They are an embroidered caribou hide men's glove with mink along the back and the front here. Just gorgeous. You can see the colors are just amazing.
Imagine they keep your hands quite warm.
Yeah, don't they look like the most comfy mittens you've ever seen?
Really
Absolutely gorgeous. Hard to imagine that they're over 100 years old, right?
We got a couple of pouches here too, something for a watch and then the fire bag here. Talk about a couple of these items as well, Baird.
This is actually where a Red River Métis man might keep his pocket watch. This is similarly in an embroidered style, a little bit different than the last, but this one actually dates back to 1860.
I love the design.
So, yeah, just gorgeous. Maybe not as vibrant, but you can sort of see how some of the things are and the themes are consistent.
And what about in front of us here?
So this is what would be called a fire bag or an octopus bag. This Métis men would carry on their hip. They would use it to keep anything they would need to start firing.
We've got this smoking hat we were talking about before we were live. Really neat, just to the left.
Yeah, so this is a smoking hat. Red River Métis men would wear this to tie their hair back a bit, prevent their hair from smelling like smoke. But just again, beautiful. You can see how they were, very decorative and just bright and vibrant. Yeah,
and some beautiful beadwork here on this vest, of course, we have to highlight. Talk to us a little bit about what we're looking at before we wrap up.
Yeah, so this is actually on black velvet, but it's beadwork again. You can see that it's got flowers coming up the top. You can see some of the mouse tracks here, which normally indicate Métis beadwork. Again, gorgeous. You can see some of these items if you look at representatives within our government or people within our community right now. You can still see people wearing and men wearing this kind of beadwork. So, a tradition that's very much alive in our community.
Wonderful. Well, Baird's going to be joining us again in the 8 o'clock hour with more of these items here in this collection from the MMF. We'll be back shortly on CTV Morning Live.
Thank you, Joseph. It's that time of year again, and CTV and Chicken Chef want you to know how you're soaking up the season. From concerts to weekend getaways, whatever's making your summer magical, we want to see it. And here are some amazing moments from the year so far, and we can't wait to see even more. Upload a photo of your summer fun for a chance to win the $5,000 grand prize, plus daily draws for a $50 Chicken Chef gift certificates. So what are you waiting for? Grab your phone, snap that sunshine, and share your summer with us today. A new report shows that grocery prices continued to climb last month faster than the rate of inflation. The rising costs come as more consumers are changing their shopping habits. CTV's Josh Morano reports.
Colleen Russell is bagging them by the bushel at the Carp Farmers Market.
I just bought some chicken breasts from a lovely farmer, and now we're looking for something to go with it.
For shoppers, including Russell, farmers markets have become a go-to for their groceries.
I'd much rather spend money locally than at a grocery store because it's so expensive there now. There's not any deals to be had.
Lately, vendors at Carp Farmers Market say they have seen more volume than in years past.
We've definitely seen more consistent higher numbers here, and I do attribute that somewhat to not just the increase in pricing in the grocery store, but also the overall desire to support local.
While prices are higher, some say their spending is on par with what they dish out at a grocery store. Loblaws releasing their food inflation report stating in June, food prices in Canada rose by 2.8% compared to last year. Coffee, cocoa, and beef all saw significant increases, with tariffs a major factor in the rise in price.
The dollar is less of a factor. In December, we were expecting food inflation to be anywhere between 3 to 5%. As we are now into July, we are expecting food inflation to end this year at around 3%.
But some don't seem to mind.
What I want, I take. I don't worry about the price.
For Russell, she says she'll pay a little extra for her produce because she knows her money is staying in Canada. Josh Morano, CTV News.
What's going on? Jermaine Franklin with you inside the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Sunday. For that, we'll head to the Open for this one. Shane Lowry on the par 4 fourth. This shot from the fairway takes a friendly bounce off the ridge and rolls all the way in for the unlikely birdie. He would finish the round with a 66 on the day and tie for 40th over the tournament. But he gets the shot of the day and your must-see moment. Later tonight on TSN, we've got MLB on TSN as the Giants take on the Braves at 6 p.m. Central. You can see it on TSN 1, 4, and 5. That's all from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
TSN Must See Moments brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, your Hunter Douglas shade provider for over 40 years. CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Well, the rain seems to have almost all but tapered off. I almost didn't need the umbrella, and then a few more drops of rain hit, and I was like, I'll try to keep the hair dry for a little bit longer. The humidity, though, good luck with you there. As far as the temperatures go today, we are well above seasonal to kick off your morning. 17 degrees is where we are sitting right now. 13 is, by the way, a normal low. We've got a bit of a breeze out of the south-southeast, 12 clicks. The pressure falling, humidity sitting at 92%. So Environment Canada out at the airport with the weather station is reporting has said the rain has tapered off, so that may be the case just west or closer to the western side of the city, and they're registering smoke once again. Now, I've been saying it seems a little fresher and cleaner here in the downtown area, and southeast winds, there's south winds overnight and southeast winds continuing through the day. I am hopeful that that helps with some of the smoke, and so too might more of the rain, although like I said, this first round is almost tapered off. Still, the possibility of more showers or thunderstorms, and that goes right across the entire province. That chance of precipitation both today, overnight, still for tomorrow, and central Manitoba might even still see some more of that on Wednesday.
Thank you, Terry. It's estimated an average of 22 people die in drownings each year in Manitoba, according to the Life Saving Society. Manitoba's 80% of fatal drownings happen to males. Other shocking numbers show that 100% of boating-related drownings occur when the victim isn't wearing a life jacket, and that all drownings of children 5 and under happen when they have no supervision or their parents or guardian are absent. This week is National Drowning Prevention Week. And joining us now is the Life Saving Society's Executive Director, Lynn Stefanchuk. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning.
So it's pretty alarming to see some of the numbers out like that, and we've seen an increase since 2019 as well. Why do we think that is?
There's so many factors that go into it. What we're trying to impress upon people is how much of it is preventable. It's entirely preventable if people are taking the proper precautions. So we're trying to get the message out this week that you are safer together, pay attention, be prepared, and perhaps we can get these numbers to go down in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. And when you say it's preventable, what would you say biggest causes then?
Wear the life jacket. If you've got, a lot of people have life jackets in their boats and their canoes, and they're not wearing them. That's a big thing. Keep your eye, in the little ones 5 and under, keep them within arm's reach. And when we say that, we mean within their arm's reach. They have to be able to reach you when they're in the water.
Yeah.
And when you're out there enjoying the summer, it's beautiful. We have such beautiful waterways. Just think about being safe, because it's unpredictable and you never know.
Seeing the numbers too, I was surprised that males, it was predominant in males, higher numbers. Is there a reason for that factor? Do you know?
I would be speculating to say.
Yeah.
I think there could be factors that involve excess risk-taking or not being as prepared or being around the water more. I would be speculating to say. But yes, that number is quite significant, that from males to females.
Whether it be boating safety, poolside, at the home, there's so many things to think about. Parents watching, obviously keep within their arm's reach, but any other tips that people might not think of?
One that, if you're having, you have a backyard pool and you're having a pool party with the kids and they're having a ball, is that make sure that there's one adult present whose job it is to watch the kids. There's so much that can distract you in the home. I gotta fetch some juice for the kids or whatever it happens to be. Just make sure that when you're going inside to do something, there is another supervising adult that is watching the pool at all times. That's one thing to consider.
And wear your life jacket. Kids, it's cool to wear your life jacket. What's your website?
lifesaving.mb.ca.
Awesome. We'll have that on our website too. Coming up at 8:06, Joseph Bernanke is spending time with MMF. Look at these beautiful artifacts. It's time for Let's Celebrate. Let's see who's having a celebration today. Happy 11th birthday to Bestie Sierra. Love from Kendon. Happy 9th birthday to Luca, with much love from Grandma and Grandpa. Happy birthday to Riley. Love Lauren and the girls and the kittens. Happy 66th birthday to Billy. Lots of love from your family and friends. Happy anniversary to Ruth and Clifford. Love from your kids and grandkids. Happy 80th birthday to Yvonne, with all of love from your family. If someone you care about is having a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or graduation, we want to celebrate with you. Submit your celebration. Visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It will also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Let's Celebrate, brought to you by Party Stuff, 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca.
Good morning, Manitoba. I hope you had a great weekend. There's so much to do this weekend. I couldn't believe it. Between the Bomber game to the comedy festival to, heading out to the lake. Us Manitobans stay so busy. The Fringe Festival, 12 days, over 150 different acts, 700 individual performers. It's pretty neat. So coming up in about 45 minutes time, we're going to be learning about the Aunties show. We're going to be chatting with the performers and the director behind it. First, here's a look at your headlines. Wildfire situation officials in our largest northern city eye on the skies and hope for enough rain to aid the firefight. Summer Summit meeting. Canada's premiers gather in cottage country to talk trade and tariffs. And it's fitting that these lovers are playing around with something called clock golf in the land of the midnight sun. Well, it's not that cool here, I hope.
Not that cool. No.
Not yet.
And in fact, we could be feeling the heat back again by the end of this week. Temperatures, we will notice some slightly cooler temps to kind of kick off this week, although I say that and we're above seasonal right now at 17 degrees. South-southeast winds, 12 kilometers per hour. The pressure falling, the humidity sitting at 92%. We did see a little bit of light rain this morning. It already seems to have tapered off. Some places will be in for a little more precipitation. And in fact, so could we still see more precipitation. It's just that it's in an off moment and it'll continue to be off and on throughout the next couple of days. The smoke, there's no turning that off, not at this point anyway. The warnings remain in place through all of northern Manitoba and down along this eastern side of the province right into the southeast with air quality statements or advisories. That's the yellow that you're seeing further east into parts of northwestern Ontario. So you can see this massive precipitation rolling over us in Winnipeg right now, getting into that very light green. It's the darker green where some of that rain is a little bit heavier, or the yellows and the reds where it's even heavier yet. So you can see some places are getting a little more saturated with that precipitation passing over. And across the province, many places will be seeing that off and on at times. You can see it goes in kind of waves with another round coming behind it, and then yet another round moving in through tomorrow, and another round yet. This will be for more of central Manitoba into Wednesday. Wednesday, we're probably starting to look on the drier side here in the south, and will remain then dry and then hot as we continue through the rest of the week and weekend. And our art today is beautiful watercolors of these sunflowers. 11-year-old Jacob, thank you for this. Keep the art coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. 4 people have been charged with second-degree murder in connection with a February homicide in Winnipeg. Police were called to a home in the 500 block of Magnus Avenue on February 25th. There they found the body of Matthew Robert Pelletier nearly 5 months later, between July 7th and 16th. Winnipeg police arrested 4 men. They range in age from 37 to 43 years old. The 4 are charged with second-degree murder. Police are still asking anyone with information about the killing to give them a call or contact Crime Stoppers. Precipitation that's in the forecast early this week could help crews fighting wildfires that have been threatening a northern Manitoba city. In an update posted to social media yesterday, the city of Thompson said that rain was forecast for the area today as the community continues to advise residents to be ready to flee at a short notice due to several fires. But the battle against the flames was hampered on Saturday, the Post said, because intense smoke meant that aerial crews were unable to do suppression work with helicopters and water bombers. Smoke also prevented the sonar imaging of land burned at the fire that has kept people out of Takaswiak Cree Nation, according to an update posted on Saturday by the community's chief. And the final day of racing at the Sail West Regional Championships on Lake Winnipeg was canceled on Sunday due to the presence of wildfire smoke. Sail Manitoba President Eric Turner says that there was enough visibility to go sailing, but the organizers determined that it would be too risky to people's health. Environment Canada Air issued air quality warnings on Friday for parts of Manitoba and Saskatchewan that lasted throughout the weekend. Canada's premiers start a 3-day summit today to talk economy, tariffs, and trade.
It will be important, though, that they send a signal to the economy of Canada that they're continuing to push forward.
On day 1 of this summit in Muskoka, premiers will meet the First Nations and Métis leaders along with the Native Women's Association of Canada. They will be giving their thoughts on the push to get going on major nation-building projects. Over the next 3 days, premiers plan to also talk about tariffs and breaking down the trade barrier between provinces. Prime Minister Mark Carney will join the premiers tomorrow. He's expected to update premiers on his plan to build infrastructure and reach a trade deal with the U.S. An independent assessment of the RCMP's internal watchdog has uncovered concerns about a toxic work environment. The workplace assessment came after anonymous employee emails alleged that the RCMP's review commission was in disarray due to a lack of leadership. The assessment found a number of employees felt overwhelmed by their workloads, leading to stress and less job satisfaction. The review says that there is a clear call for change at the leadership level. Were you go golfing this weekend? How was the weather? Was it like this?
It's probably the most innovative and cool golf I've ever done.
These golfers swapped greens for ice in their first ever North Pole Clog Golf Championship. Clog golf is a Victorian era variation of the game where players putt from numbered points arranged around the central hole like a clock face. It needed another variation probably because of the challenging greens. Players only had to putt from 4 locations rather than 12. Taking a look at the current traffic situation around the Norwood Bridge. Smooth volumes here, no stalls or crashes that we're aware of.
CTV Morning Live Traffic brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
Ontario is restricting access to courtrooms because of a recent increase in so-called Zoom bombings. Use of the video conferencing tool became widespread during the pandemic, but rise in disruptions is leading to a clampdown. CTV's Michelle Malachsky reports.
Britt LaRue was reading her victim impact statement when court was Zoom bombed.
Genitalia was in the courthouse. That's wild.
An unwelcome participant posted a pornographic video with sound for all to hear and see. The man accused of criminal harassment was being sentenced.
And I had to sit there while the court figured out what to do in that moment. And it was very uncomfortable being that close to him for that long and just sitting there.
All of a sudden, they're bombing us like almost every day, and it's horrific.
Criminal defense lawyer Patricia Brown has had her own hearings derailed by offensive language and comments.
They're essentially kind of taking over the court. It's extremely distracting. It causes a lot of disruption.
Citing a, quote, notable rise in Zoom bombings of Ontario court proceedings, the Ministry of the Attorney General announced this week the public will no longer have access to Zoom links. If the public would like to attend, they will be required to do so in person, the Assistant Deputy Attorney General wrote in a memo to court staff. Victims or complainants can get the links from the Crown's office or the witness assistance social workers. The media will have to formally request links going forward. And then each participant will have to identify themselves before being permitted access.
This is a tedious process to identify each and every person that wants to be a participant and wants to come into the courtroom.
But it's one Brown says is important because Zoom can be useful to protect victims and witnesses from the stress of being in person.
It kind of turned into a way that people knew they could victimize victims all over again. And that I'm glad the court stepped in to do something for that.
Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
The beadwork is absolutely stunning. That is with the Our Grandmother's collection with the MMF. Joseph Brzezinski joins me now.
Thanks again, Ainsley. Yeah, good morning, Winnipeg. If you're just joining us, very pleased to be joined again by Bayard DeVries. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you guys again for dropping by.
Yeah, providing all this information. We've got 2 lovely sashes in front of us, Bayard. Talk to us a little bit about each.
Yeah, absolutely. So here you'll have 2 examples of, a very iconic Red River Métis item, the sash. This one is a finger woven sash from 1840 to 1850, so very, very old. But if you look at it, you just got striking patterns on it, beautiful colors. The earliest versions of these from this time period would have taken months and months to make, up to a year to make.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, so the craftsmanship on this would have had to be incredibly high. The skill would have had to be high and just very sought after. You can imagine seeing somebody like this. It became very popular.
Having all these items, if we put it in the context of the grand scale, what does it mean now for the Manitoba Métis Federation to be able to bring these home, as it were, and then eventually soon have these on display?
Yeah, I think it's a very amazing opportunity for us to assemble such a beautiful collection of Red River Métis artwork, back to where it all started in the Red River homeland here. having these items here for us to share, to exhibit in the Red River Métis National Heritage Center when it opens in 2027. And not just that, but to provide access to our community to such amazing examples of artistry that are typically locked behind, glass cases. So, I think it's a really good opportunity for us to bring the focus back to this traditional artwork and expand upon it.
I imagine through your work as program coordinator, you'll have the opportunity to probably have a number of different programming, educate the public about the collections of these individual items.
Yeah, I think another exciting opportunity for us is to open the Red River Métis National Heritage Center at the corner of Portage and Main. That crossway just opened, and it presents a huge opportunity for us to create a unique space downtown. So, to have these things to display is really meaningful.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate your time again on the show this morning, Baird. Over 140 items in this collection. We've been proud to show you many of them. We'll be back one more time at 8:38 here with the Manitoba Métis Federation.
All right, looking now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. No more drops on our camera. We were seeing a few raindrops earlier on as the light rain was falling. It does seem to have tapered off for now. Heavy smoke back again, according to Environment Canada at the airport, although still in the downtown area. I'm noticing that it's certainly seeming a little bit fresher and cleaner than it was, say, yesterday. Yesterday, that heavy smoke, oh my goodness, it did seem pretty intense. The rain would have helped, but so too some winds out of the southeast. Now, you can see the temperatures all across southern Manitoba are above seasonal. 13 degrees, a normal low, and most of us are in those high teens to kick things off. Northern Manitoba also a very mild start to your day with mid-teens, even 20 degrees at the moment in the Island Lake area. We do, most of us, however, remain under that heavy smoke warning with the advisory just off to the east of us. Southwestern Manitoba, things are feeling a little bit clearer there. All of the warnings have been lifted, and we too may notice some slight changes through the daytime today with southeast winds through the day, overnight out of the south. But then tomorrow they're back out of the north, so it's only a matter of time before that heavy smoke really sets in again. There you can see the rain passing through. We will welcome more of that across the entire province, the possibility of showers, maybe some thunderstorms. Our temperatures today getting up into those low 20s by midday, mid to high 20s even by later on this afternoon. Northern Manitoba also likely to be up either into the high teens or low 20s, pretty typical of what's normal for this time of year. A couple days of rain, at least off and on here throughout the south, and then it's looking drier and a whole lot hotter as we're moving ahead to the weekend. Taking a break right now, but stick around. We'll be back in just a moment with more CTV Morning Live.
Good morning. A beauty of a piano, a century old, has taken center stage at Montreal's Notre Dame Basilica. It's part of a fundraising effort to pay for a remarkable restoration project. Here's CTV's Jean-Vian Beauchemin.
Notes as divine as the historic chapel of the Notre Dame Basilica in which they play rise from this century-old piano. A once famed but now closed Parisian manufacturer Gaveau fabricated the instrument. And experienced piano restorer Daniel Farah bought it from an estate in 2008.
You looked at it and you thought, this is valuable?
Well, first I said it's a wreck. But I could see it was a great design. It was a wonderful design. This is a 200-year soundboard.
Farah spent countless hours. Well, actually, he stopped counting at 800, meticulously restoring the keys, the strings, the cracked wood. His aim was to respect the piano's history while bringing it into a new era.
This one will surprise you sometime because it's that impressionist period, you know. It was so fantastic.
A sponsored donation put the piano into the hands of the Notre Dame Foundation. It's raising money to restore the Basilica, this masterpiece of Gothic revival architecture inspired by Notre Dame de Paris. But the Basilica was beginning to crumble. The work to fix the towers, the facades began 5 years ago and is expected to take another 5.
The expertise for that is pretty hard to find. There are fewer people who work as a mason.
Proceeds from a series of concerts in the chapel will go to that cause, including one that has on the program jazz music from cinema.
It's not church music.
No, it's not. And it's pretty new that we're able to feature jazz music here. Before, the other reverends were not into that modern music, I would say.
Modern music from an old piano, writing a new chapter in the history of this basilica. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
The most common cancer in Canada right now is skin cancer. Rates are going up and it can be deadly. Ultraviolet rays, or UV, can cause up to 90% of skin cancers. July is UV Safety Awareness Month, and Cancer Care Manitoba has reminders on how to protect yourself. Joining us now is Shauna Fay from Cancer Care. Good morning.
Morning.
So you mentioned the UV rays off camera, but then also how with the smoke that we've been having, you can still get those rays.
Absolutely. Yesterday I was at an outdoor festival, and while it was very smoky, I checked the UV index and it was still a 7. So when the UV index is 3 or higher, we need to be careful about skin damage.
So what is the difference between UV and UVA rays?
Both of those are radiation that comes from the sun, and both of those can cause skin damage. So the thing to remember about those is when you're picking a sunscreen, you want to make sure that it says broad spectrum. A sunscreen that says broad spectrum is going to protect you from both of those types of rays. So that's what you need to be careful for when you're picking sunscreen.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you have any special recommendations is there, I don't know, is there a clinical brand that we all should be looking out for?
I love all of the sunscreens. It's best to pick what works for you and your family. What we do recommend is that you want to get an SPF, it's a sun protection factor of 30 or more. Okay. You want to apply that every 2 hours when you're in the sun, and if you've been swimming or sweating, more than 2 hours.
Okay. I feel like I was giggling because I feel like I'm the or more.
Yeah,
I'm the or more camp.
Yes, I love a 60. There's 90, there's 45.
Oh my gosh.
Pick what works for you.
Okay. When we're applying, are there any areas that people tend to forget?
Yes, people tend to forget their ears, their scalp, where your hair parts can get a sunburn. And then often after we put on sunscreen, we wash our hands. And so sometimes it can be our hands also that are forgotten. Little kids, it's tricky to chase them around and get them. So one of the tricks that I use with my nephews is if you can put the sunscreen on a makeup brush and they can do it themselves. Because sometimes chasing a kid around to touch their face, tricky.
Yes, and slippery too.
Yeah.
When we talk about protection, everybody likes that nice, tan glow. Right. And I get that too. But should we not be tanning? Is this something that we should be avoiding completely?
Well, any tanning is a sign of skin damage. So we absolutely at Cancer Care Manitoba do not recommend tanning beds or tanning booths. Know that you can still get a tan through SPF. So I wear sunscreen on the regular and I still have a bit of a tan, more than I would in the winter time. But also know that I'm a makeup girl, you can get cosmetic tans, there's all kinds of things that you can do. Just know that when you're changing the color of your skin, that's an indication of skin damage.
And when it comes to it, I mean, these are very real risks. Like a lot of Manitobans are dealing with this. What should we be looking for?
So you want to talk to your doctor if you're noticing any changes in your skin, especially when there's little moles or spots that look like they're changing in size or shape or color, or if there's just something that is changing in a way that wasn't normal for you. Also know that while we've been talking a lot about SPF and sunscreen, there are other things that you can do. If sunscreen isn't, your most favorite option, you can also seek shade, put on a shirt. I brought my favorite hat. So you want to choose a hat that has a broad rim and can cover up your neck and your ears and all of those types of places.
Thank you so much. Such an important conversation. Outside, how is it looking?
Yeah, we're not seeing much of the sun at this time, but that being said, you can still get a sunburn even on an overcast day, so sunscreen absolutely imperative, or the big hat. Wouldn't be a bad idea on a day like today. It would be keeping my hair dry. We'll just let my ride pass. I'm not coming down yet. I'm busy. It's loud. It's very loud up here. Okay, my director says you can still hear me. That's what microphones are for, I suppose. Excellent, I'll continue on. 17 degrees, southeast winds, 15 clicks, the pressure falling and the humidity sitting at 92%. And yes, we do have the heavier clouds. It was raining earlier this morning. When I stepped outside, I didn't even bother to bring the umbrella with me. It does seem to have tapered off for now. Doesn't mean it's entirely over. The possibility of showers, maybe thunderstorms, still off and on over the next couple of days. A better chance maybe through central and northern Manitoba that it might even continue on for a third day. So we will welcome all of that rain and the slightly cooler temperatures. Maybe not today, but tomorrow the temperatures dip a little bit. The heavier smoke, we noticed that over the weekend. There you can see it out in Pinawa. Thanks to Kimberly for the photo. And keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
A sweet shop in New Brunswick is putting on a unique twist on an ice cream float. CTV's Sarah Plowman has the scoop on the success of a young entrepreneur. Going to break now.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Before the magic of technology and live television hit us, I had to tell you about this sweet shop in New Brunswick. It's putting a unique twist on an ice cream float. CTV's Sarah Plowman has the scoop on the young success of an entrepreneur.
Her commute to work looks different than most. So does her office. Out on New Brunswick's Kingston Creek, Victoria Tramble specializes in sales. Ice cream sales.
It's a floating ice cream dock, so it's very unique. It has a boat drive-through right here for boats to just pull up.
That's right, a drive-through on the water. Treats like drumsticks, popsicles, and ice cream sandwiches are the draw.
Would like to go for scooped ice cream next year once we're solar powered.
When the sun comes out, so do boaters. On a cloudy weekday like this one, ice cream is a tougher sell. But after lunch, a special customer. Mike Alton started this floating business last year.
This was, just a dream of mine. Always wanted an ice cream shop, really like ice cream. Thought about putting it on the water and it all made sense.
Too busy with his other companies, he didn't want this dream to sink and chose to sell. Tramble scooped it up.
I'm just grateful that I got to be a part of it. I'll tell you, it sure looks sharp now.
Not everybody has a boat to get to the dock, but the owner solved that problem, putting these boats on the beach for people to use for free.
After all, ice cream might taste better on the water.
And everybody that comes by is just like in love with it, really, in love with the idea.
Yeah, and you're still in love with it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'll always be in love with it. I don't think I'll ever not love it here.
The 22-year-old became an entrepreneur just as she unexpectedly found herself without a job.
I think that's like a scary reality for a lot of people my age right now. So I kind of found myself like scrambling to find a job and everything, and it kind of just was like perfect. It fell into my lap.
That's pretty sweet. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Kingston, New Brunswick.
HIV has been around for decades, and many of us know the risks of needle use and unprotected sex. In 2022 and 2023, Manitoba recorded its highest rates ever of new HIV cases, and for the first, more women than men were newly diagnosed. Still to this day, there are so many stigmas attached to HIV, and University of Manitoba researchers are trying to break down those stereotypes. Joining us now is Associate Professor of the Max Rady College of Medicine's Medical Microbiology and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Zolma Rada, and pardon the pronouncer there. Good morning, doctor. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So please tell us what you're seeing in terms of new HIV infections in Manitoba and in which populations you're seeing these disturbing numbers.
In 2022 and 2023, this is not new. This has been happening since 2018. Yes. In 2022, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. In 2022 and 2023, Manitoba recorded its highest ever HIV incidence in the history of the province. For the first time, more women than men were diagnosed. Unfortunately, there is an overrepresentation of Indigenous people, women, people who use drugs. And this shift is alarming and highlights the needs for urgent and community-driven responses.
And it's not just an increase in HIV, you're also seeing a rise in other infections like syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea. Tell us more about what you're seeing.
That is a very important question because the main mode of HIV transmission is sexually, and there are other sexually transmitted and blood-borne infections that can be transmitted through sexual intercourse. So among those, the most common that we have seen is syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea, human papillomaviruses, and other sexually transmitted and blood-borne infections. So one important thing is because they shared a common mode of transmission, which is through sexual intercourse. When a person is diagnosed with one of those, the idea is that if you test for one, test for all.
Mm-hmm. And with that day today being Zero Stigma Day, what's the most common stigma you're seeing?
One of the main and most important things is related to the person and related to the community. So related to the person is that the person feel self-stigma, which means start to criticize themselves for their choices. And from the community, family members, loved ones, people sometimes reject people, sometimes discriminate, and sometimes there are still concerning taboos that are not true. For example, that HIV can be transmitted through sharing food or through sharing plates. So those are not possible routes of transmission. So one of the things that we want to highlight today is three main messages. HIV is preventable. Tools like pre-exposure prophylaxis and post-exposure prophylaxis are highly effective when taken as prescribed. The second important thing is an HIV diagnosis is not a death sentence. With treatment, we have highly effective treatment. People can live long, healthy lives and cannot transmit the virus if the viral load is undetectable. We cannot detect the virus in blood. And testing saves lives. So it's quick, confidential, and is a powerful step toward ending stigma. Know your HIV status, your sexually transmitted and blood-borne infection status, so you can receive treatment or you can receive prevention treatment.
Doctor, I'm so sorry to cut you off. We're simply out of time. I really appreciate these messages.
17 degrees outside right now with southeast winds, 15 clicks, the pressure falling, humidity at 92%. The smoke warnings continue throughout most of the province. There you can see all of the purple, including parts of northwestern Ontario. If it's not that, the slightly downgraded advisory in place. Now, I've been saying that the south winds have been helping. It seems a little bit fresher out there, but maybe it's not the winds. It could be the rain. We'll be seeing that off and on throughout the entire province today. That chance of showers, maybe thunderstorms, mid-20 temps expected. Yes, the southeast winds. We will welcome that shift remaining out of the south overnight as we drop down to 17 degrees. That chance of showers or thunderstorms continues overnight and still through the day tomorrow, but the wind shifting back out of the north, so we might notice more of that smoke being drawn back in again. Slightly cooler temps tomorrow, but back up into the mid-20s. And as we look ahead to the coming weekend, those temperatures just keep ramping up.
Thanks, Terry. Crews in Winnipeg were busy early Sunday morning with two fires. The first fire was reported early Sunday at about 1:10 a.m. in a two-story home in the 400 block of Power Street. Crews found heavy smoke coming from the building. They launched an offensive attack and brought the blaze under control at 1:46 a.m. Firefighters used a ladder to rescue an individual from the second floor. The person was assessed by on-scene and paramedics, but did not require transport to hospital. One cat was located deceased. The fire is being investigated. The second call-out came just after 4 a.m. for a vehicle fire in the 500 block of Pacific Avenue. Crews discovered the flames had spread to a carport and to the exterior of an adjacent house. The fire was quickly brought under control and did not spread to the interior of the house. No injuries were reported and the investigation continues. A 9-year-old girl from Canada has been found dead after being reported missing in upstate New York. Local authorities say that the girl's father called police on Saturday night to report her missing after an abduction in Lake George on Sunday morning. An Amber Alert was issued, but later officers identified inconsistencies with the father's timeline. After a search, the young girl's body was found 72 kilometers from where she was last reported seen. Automaker Stellantis is predicting a record net loss, and it says that the shortfall is due to tariffs. The automaker is reporting a preliminary estimated loss of $2.7 billion due to the U.S. tariffs and the weakening demand in European market. The CEO is promising a gradual and sustainable improvement in the second half of the year. It's a phone that doesn't ring. It's not connected to a line. Instead, words are being said and being carried on the wind. It's aimed at those who have lost a loved one, wanting to express their feelings. CTV's Adam Sawatsky met a BC man as he struggled to place the call.
David and his dog are walking along the water, not far from where he and his siblings once rented a boat to say goodbye to their parents at sea.
We poured out the ashes and a family of orcas started jumping, and the captain said, "Wow, you couldn't have scripted that any better."
And ever since, David's been hoping to see some other serendipitous sign.
You know, everybody says, "Oh, you know, I saw Mom here and here," and it's been dead silent for me.
And then he happened upon this, that someone set up along the path, an invitation, according to these instructions, to communicate with loved ones you've lost by phone.
What would I say, right? I'm not ready.
So David left the phone.
I walked down the path in tears.
But the phone didn't leave him.
I was moved. I was touched.
And the next day, he's returned.
I think it's a really special idea.
The sign says it's a wind phone, inspired by an unconnected phone booth in Japan to connect with the dead following a devastating earthquake.
It's the only number I ever had.
The number he started dialing as a kid and never stopped calling as a grown-up on his old home phone, now displayed at his place after having to sell his parents.
Every Sunday, gotta call Mom. Nope. Every time there's a hockey game, gotta call Dad.
But today, this is not a call David can complete.
I can't do that today. I'm not ready for that.
Because although the notebook beside the phone is filled with messages from other folks feeling grateful for the opportunity to say what they wish they had, David is wanting to hear what he no longer can.
Just reassuring. Reassuring that it's all okay.
But how can we really hear, the wind phone seems to say, unless we listen?
All these years I've been waiting for a sign, and maybe it's just me. I gotta pick up the phone and call.
And when he's ready for that, David now knows he doesn't have to happen upon a wind phone. At any time, he can pick up that old home phone and really hear everything is okay. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
This is our traffic camera along Kenniston and Sterling Lyon. No stalls or crashes that we're aware of. Let us know. CTV Morning WPG. Here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average stands at $1.36, while the provincial average is lower at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.29. The lowest price in the city is $1.19. All this information can be found at gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
It's now time to check in with the question of the day, and the skies are gray, but your mood doesn't have to be. And we wanted to ask you guys, what's your rainy day pick-me-up? Wanda says, baking. Today I will be making zucchini chocolate chip muffins. Ooh. Marlene says, lots of nature and love. Jackie says, rainy days are brightened with some homemade soup, a good book, cozy blanket, and a comfy chair. April says, signing up for a Zumba or yoga class at my gym. Lots of positive people there. Thanks everyone for your responses. Joseph Bernacki joins us once again from the MMF to look at some really cool artifacts. Who are you chatting with now, Joseph?
Thanks, Ainsley. Well, it's been a great morning. Winnipeg, if you're just joining us, we're with the Manitoba Métis Federation this morning. Janine Crouchy joins us again. Thank you so much for your knowledge and history and sharing these beautiful pieces of art.
couldn't think of something better to do this morning, that's for sure. This is great. This is absolutely, this is like a dream.
This jacket is absolutely lovely to our right, Janine. Talk to us a little bit about it.
Okay, this is embroidered, and it's done on hometown hide, probably elk or caribou, and then the embroidery is done with silk thread as a twist. But it's actually very close to the designs of beadwork itself.
Right down to the detail, cameraman Scott's showing, just like, look at the little thread, all the different individual colors that were used for this.
And the porcupine quill and it almost looks like a little castle, and that's all cut and done by hand.
We talked about those sashes earlier on in the show taking between 10 to 12 months to make. Imagine this would have taken months.
Oh, yes, very much. It would take months to have done something like this. And plus, she was very, very skilled. She had probably started doing embroidery when she was a very young girl. Yeah.
And then that knowledge carried forward for years. Talk a little bit about the whip in front of the jacket.
Okay, the whip in front here, that's for the dog teams. And, of course, they'd have all their little tuppies, their little dog blankets on, and they'd have the whole dog team with the musher, going along with either bringing back supplies or going to take things to the training post. So they had this whip, although I don't think they were actually, the little dogs were really whipped. I think they were, they were a pride, too, to have those little dogs.
Very neat. Yeah. And then we've been showing a little bit of this wall art throughout the show today. Talk to us a little bit about this wall pocket here to my left. Yeah.
Okay, this wall pocket is probably one of the most beautiful wall pockets I probably have ever seen. It is absolutely gorgeous. She was an absolute master doing that wall pocket. It was meant to have on the wall to put letters or little cards or things like that on the wall. And that piece has 31 different colors of beads on that one.
One of many here that have been remarkable to showcase this morning. Janine, thank you so much again for your time this morning. Over 140 items that'll be on display in the near future, hopefully in the new building at Portage and Main, of course, be able to see these for the public. And it's been our pleasure to bring you here for a sneak peek on CTV Morning Live.
I can't wait. Thank you, Joseph. Well, maybe there's 32 colors on that beautiful piece of artwork. How many colors are there in the sky?
Gray.
Yeah, okay.
50 shades. All right, the rain is back. I needed the umbrella again, and I was so happy to have stepped outside and be like, ooh, got to get the umbrella again. Welcoming more rain. Director Kim was just talking about how sad my flowers are looking. Honestly, my rooftop flowers at home as well. The smoke, it's really done a number on them. Yeah, anyway. And the rain, they need some of that. These ones don't necessarily get watered over the weekend. And there wasn't a lot of precipitation over the weekend, just smoke. Well, now we're still dealing with the smoke, but the precipitation is here finally. 17 degrees, the southeast winds are 15 clicks, the pressure falling, the humidity sitting at 92%. The smoke warnings are still in place through most of the province. The exception is the southwest. We might see a bit of an improvement today as winds continue out of the southeast for today, and then south winds continuing overnight might help. Although I think they're going to be shifting back out of the north for tomorrow, so that could bring an end to what might be a slight improvement. A slight improvement as far as the dry conditions go, with showers and maybe thunderstorms expected pretty much across the province, off and on for the next couple of days. And in fact, while we'll be back to the sunshine midweek on Wednesday, parts of central Manitoba and northern Manitoba will still see more of that precipitation. So bring it on, Mother Nature. We need the rain. We welcome it for the next couple of days. Still mid-20 temps today, but a slightly cooler day ahead tomorrow. Taking a break right now. We'll be back. More CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
More than 50,000 Canada Post workers will be voting this week on the latest contract offer from their employer. It comes after months of contentious negotiations at a time when many Canadians are debating just how much they use the service. With more on that, here's Paul Hollingsworth.
Canada Post and its unionized employees are buried deep in negotiations that have lasted more than 18 months.
We put forward the offers,
We hope they see it as a reasonable path forward that provides certainty.
But the union sees things differently.
We're dealing with a mugger. The post office is trying to take a whole bunch of stuff from us.
With the labor impasse continuing, we asked Canadians how much they use Canada Post.
I don't send any meals or anything, so I don't really use it.
Some seniors in particular still send and receive on a regular basis.
I use it, like maybe for paying bills.
How often do you use Canada Post?
Weekly.
What do you use it for?
We mail letters and parcels out to family and friends.
Others appreciate the simplicity of this long-standing tradition.
I have to admit, I like to receive things in Canada Post as opposed to electronically.
Since 1867, Canada Post has served communities across the country. How people use the post office depends on where they live.
I fear for rural Canadians, because there are a lot of delivery companies won't deliver to rural Newfoundland or rural Alberta or rural British Columbia.
University marketing professor Ed McHugh says across the country there has been a decline in the use of the mail service among younger Canadians.
They know what Amazon Prime is, but they don't know what Canada Post is.
I feel like some demographics use it more than others. I would say it's not super relevant in my everyday life.
Through thick and thin, the Postal Service undeniably has its loyal users.
We get a lot of junk mail, basically. But still, I would hate to see it disappear.
She hopes both sides avoid a work stoppage and strengthen a national institution that dates all the way back to Confederation. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
The Winnipeg Fringe Festival continues this week. One of the shows you can check out is called The Auntie Show. Joining us now to tell us more is playwright and lead auntie Joe MacDonald and director Ryan Osodo. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. How you doing?
Okay, tell us all about the show. I'll start with you, Ryan.
Okay. Well, this is a show by Joe MacDonald over here, and it's a collection of skits, right, centered around the aunties and their experiences, I suppose, right, or like, I don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, without giving it away, then.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's a play. The aunties have a podcast and kind of podcast radio show, and they share all these stories. They story tell instead of just telling. We show and with different times and
times and like their thoughts, kind of, like they manifest in the skits, right?
Yeah.
And callers that call into the podcast and their stories that they go through as well. Yeah.
Yes. But all about aunties.
Yes.
Okay.
So.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there because when it comes to family, period, there's that aunties can be funny, aunties can have wisdom. So are you trying to incorporate, all of those major themes?
Mostly the humor, piece, because because aunties are, they're older, they're matriarchs, so it was important to have mature women, on stage and have their voice. So these stories are, but are from some of their crazy antics, because you know how aunties are, eh?
What do people love about it? What do you want people to take out of it?
What, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I think just connecting to to family events and just that reminder of actually how we are all connected, and doesn't matter which community an auntie comes from, because we all have that crazy aunt.
Yes. So. And to have a good time as well and to laugh. Like one thing. I guess the major thing that the audiences really love is the comedy of it. It is a comedy show, and so all the things that Joe is saying, but credit to Joe, it is a very funny show, and so that's something I would like the audience to take away from it, is like to have a good time, to laugh, like Joe was saying, like one of the focuses is like the humor of the aunties, right? And like that's a pretty big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, just because there's many things that connect people, like there's ceremony, there's life events, and food, that brings us together. Well, another factor is laughter, and you know, being together with community and laughing, you know, at the same thing is, you know, is really powerful and really community building. So, yeah.
Well, we want people to see it. Where and when?
Well, if you want to catch it today,
yes,
it's a late show. It's at 9 p.m. But you know, you can find the schedule on the Fringe website.
Yes.
It's at Up the Alley, which is at MTC.
Yeah.
Up the alley. It's
okay.
behind MTC. Venue 2, if
Yes.
anyone is looking for it, because there's 2 venues over there. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Break a leg with your show tonight. I was going to say good luck, but we don't do that in showbiz. All right, there's a look outside. The raindrops piling up on the camera. 17 degrees, southeast winds 15 clicks. The pressure falling and the humidity sitting at 92%. The rain, it's back again, and we welcome it for sure. The smoke, well, it hasn't really left. You probably noticed how prevalent it was over the weekend, and no surprise then that these heavy smoke warnings have been issued through most of northern Manitoba and down into the southeast, the exception parts of southwestern Manitoba. We may see some slight improvements with winds out of the southeast and then south overnight. And certainly with the rain, that might also help dampen some of those smoke particles. The rain is expected pretty much across the province, off and on at times, over the next couple of days. Mid-20s on tap today. 26, by the way, is a normal daytime high. So we're right in that zone still of seasonal temps for today. But then slightly cooler for tomorrow, and a lot of folks will perhaps welcome the break from those mid-20 temps because it's only a break for a day. They're back again on Wednesday, Thursday, with the sunshine back and the drier conditions to last through the rest of the week and the weekend. And the weekend, those temperatures, they're only heating up more so. So yes, enjoy that bit of a cool down because that heat is coming back again. And we too will be back right after this break. We'll be here with more CTV Morning Live.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon.
Okay, Monday. Now to a mom who carries the weight of her whole family on her back, literally. Not what I was expecting. Velcro kids? This mama possum is moving her kids around, all 13 of them, by the way, to their next location. Look at that little waddle.
Oh, one got stuck. Oh no, 2 got stuck. Oh, Mama, come back.
What's gonna happen to them? More on Tuesday.
Oh, here they go. Oh, they figured it out. Look at that. Life lessons.
All right, to dogs now. Teaching dogs with a touch of a button. Okay, maybe I have a bias because I grew up with a border collie. They are the smartest.
This is so incredible. But
know.
really, only 2 are the smartest because one is just pushing buttons. We don't know how smart he is.
Okay, thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you tomorrow.